Hey guys, in today's video we will continue to see the story titled The Return of the God of Destruction, Big Mun. This story will be about a god of destruction that was brought to life, but he didn't belong to any of the current 12 universes, but one of the 6 that had been destroyed by Zuno-sama thousands of years ago. We will see how this god of destruction will behave now thousands of years after his death and what his goal will be now that he has returned. Will this god of destruction be a new ally for Goku or a new enemy for him and his friends? Well, follow along to find out. So grab a bucket of popcorn and your soda and come with me, and of course don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and comment what you think of this story. Well, without further ado, let's get started following this incredible story. Somewhere outside the 12 universes. In a place where nothing existed, composed only of darkness and nothing else, there was a small purple sphere, with some details like it was cloth or something like that. That small purple sphere wandered through the vast darkness, but it was not just a normal sphere, but the soul of an ancient god of destruction that had been wandering in that place since the day of his death. But even his so-called death could not erase what he felt. The deepest hatred and anger towards the supreme beings who had brought about his death. Only this god of destruction didn't know that what he wanted most would happen. This god of destruction would finally have the chance to take revenge on those who brought his death, and the god of destruction would have to thank a certain emperor who, due to his greed, ended up bringing what could be considered the Ragnarok of the gods of destruction and angels. But they would not be the only ones to feel his fury, because the supreme beings are the true targets of this god of destruction. In the 7th universe. Currently in the 7th universe, it was possible to see a spaceship wandering through the universe, accompanied by other smaller spaceships around it. The main and largest ship was the feared Emperor Frieza, the being who most hates the Saiyajins in the universe, and who is also a Saiyan, Son Goku's archenemy from planet Earth. Inside Frieza's spaceship, it was possible to see that Frieza was sitting on a kind of throne that could float, and the Emperor was looking at the glass panel of his ship, seeing all the stars and constellations he passed by. Other than that, inside the ship was also Frieza's private advisor, along with other people who were operating the spaceship. Frieza spoke. "Counselor, are we already reaching our destination?" asked the Emperor to his advisor, who, upon hearing the words of his master, looked at one of Frieza's servants who was in charge of piloting the ship, and when he saw that she was looking at him, the servant sent information to the advisor's scouter. The counselor said, "From the information received, my sovereign, we will reach your destination in a short time. But let me ask you one more time, why are we going to a planet that is on the edge of our universe? What is there for you to go see for yourself?" said the advisor to her sovereign. After all, Frieza would not go to some planet if it wasn't important. Frieza said, "Simple, my dear. In the latest research by one of my archaeological servants, they ended up discovering a legend that said that whoever finds a star created by an ancient being called Zalama, who was called the Dragon God, whoever possesses this star will be able to make a wish that could even restore a universe. And moreover, they had discovered all this at the beginning of creation. There were 18 universes and not 12. That means that Zeno ended up destroying these 6 universes because they should be weak. And my current power made me a being with a level of power similar or superior to the gods of destruction. So I will use this star to bring one of their destroyed universes back to life, and then I will kill the god of destruction of that universe. And with that I will make the angel of the universe make me the new one god of destruction. And with that power I will be an extremely powerful being, and I will be able to defeat everyone who stands in my way," said the Emperor about his desire and goal to be a god of destruction, something that made all who heard him awestruck and awed by their sovereign's future power. Counselor said, "If you manage to accomplish this objective, then you will be able to govern an entire universe. With that, what will happen to all your servants, my lord?" said the woman, who was putting the question on the table. Everyone paid attention. After all, they could end up dead for not being more useful. Frieza said, "It's not if I succeed. I will succeed in becoming a god of destruction. No need to worry, because after I become a god of destruction, I will need you to rule the entire universe. Because when other tournaments of power happen, I will need elite soldiers capable of humiliating all warriors," spoke the Emperor with a cynical smile on his face. But just hearing those words, the soldiers sighed with happiness, because they would not be discarded, or in worst cases killed by the hands of their sovereign. The counselor said, "We appreciate your mercy, my lord. All of us will be happy to not only serve the current emperor of this universe, but also serve a future god of destruction of the universe. It seems that we have arrived, my lord," said the advisor to Frieza, who paid more attention to the glass panel in front of him. When looking at the glass panel in front of him, Frieza was able to see a small planet with a large volume of a reddish liquid similar to water, but it had a redder tone, almost blood, and the part that was made of land had something that looked like with earth grass, only it was light blue, and beyond that there were small floating islands scattered around the planet. Frieza spoke. Yes, this is the planet I was looking for. Before we land, send some soldiers to search the planet and tell them to look for a floating island with a golden tree, which should emanate a destructive purple color energy with a dark tone, said the Emperor, turning around and looking at his advisor, who soon ordered some soldiers to do what their sovereign had ordered. It didn't take long for Frieza's army to find what their lord wanted, and soon the Emperor's spaceship began to fly over the floating island that should have been big enough to be considered a continent. A ramp ended up opening on Frieza's ship, and when it opened completely, it was possible to see the Emperor already in his floating vehicle. Then Frieza jumped off the ramp and fell on the floating island. And upon reaching the ground of the floating island, the Emperor ended up seeing that on the island there was a type of pyramid, with some statues of some beings that Frieza did not know, but thought that they must be from the civilization that belonged to the planet. Frieza said, "Advisor, create an exploration group and send them inside to explore this pyramid. But they can't touch anything," said the Emperor to his advisor, who soon organized some exploration groups and sent them inside the pyramid. Meanwhile, the Emperor sat on an improvised throne and began to eat some things that his cooks had made for him. A few hours had passed and almost all the exploration groups had already returned. Only one of them was missing. This group was the one that Frieza most expected because he believed that they had found the place where the star was, which would grant the wish that Frieza wanted so much. So another hour had passed and the last group had returned with information about the location of the star that the Emperor wanted so much. Frieza said, "Congratulations on finding the star's resting place. Now take me there. When we return, I will give you a great fortune, in addition to a prestigious title for the services rendered to me," said the Emperor to the soldiers who had discovered the place where the star was. Frieza said, "Now guide me to the place where that star is," said the Emperor to his soldiers, who soon began to guide him to the place where the star was. Some soldiers had died on the way, as there were several traps in the corridors of the temple. A few minutes later, it was possible to see that Frieza and his exploration group had arrived at the place where the star was, and when they arrived, they saw the star on top of a pedestal. This star shone in several different colors, something that made the star even more desirable. Frieza spoke. "So this is the star I was looking for so much, and now it is within my reach. With this star, I will be able to become even stronger, and with that, I will be a god of destruction. And in the future, I will be a ruler of the entire universe, and who knows, of all of them together," said the Emperor as he walked towards the star. Upon getting closer to the star, the Emperor picked it up and began to analyze it. So when Frieza was going to make his wish to the star, when at that very moment, the star began to shine brightly, making it hotter than before, something that forced Frieza and his soldiers to move away from the star, which began to float and release an energy of destruction, similar to that of a god of destruction. The star that was now emitting an energy similar to that of the god of destruction began to form several bands of energy that began to surround the star. These bands began to form a humanoid body, and it wasn't long before an explosion of energy took place, causing much of the temple to be destroyed, especially the top where the crystal was previously. Thanks to the explosion, a lot of dust ended up rising, covering the view of all the soldiers who had not died from the wreckage of the temple that had fallen. And after a few seconds, the dust had lowered, and everyone could see that there was a being floating in the place where the crystal was previously. That being had a body composed of more than yellowish bands, having an older tone. He had red eyes, and what most caught Frieza's attention was that he was wearing a God of Destruction outfit, only a little different from the others that Frieza had seen, showing that being was a God of Destruction, but not of any of the current 12 universes. The mysterious God of Destruction spoke, "I came back to life. Am I back? I'm finally back," said the God of Destruction in a higher tone, releasing his energy of destruction, making all Frieza's soldiers shiver with pure fear. In the 7th universe. Currently in the 7th universe, more precisely on a planet at the edge of the universe, it was possible to see Frieza with some of his soldiers facing the mysterious being, who released the energy of destruction in which only the gods of destruction possessed. The general said, "Lord Frieza, we all thought that your wish would be to revive one of the universes that have been destroyed, so that in that universe you could become the new god of destruction. So why did you revive that being? Will he help you achieve your goal of ruling all universes?" asked one of the generals to Frieza's army, who had some superficial injuries on his body because of a debris that had fallen on him, and especially those that had almost fallen on top of Frieza's advisor, in which the general protected her. The advisor said, This is something I also want to know, my sovereign. At no time had you referred to any being that would help you in your conquest to be a god of destruction, spoke the Emperor's advisor to Frieza, who was facing that being curious and angry at the same time. Frieza said, I didn't plan any of this. I don't know this being. At the time I removed the star from the pedestal, the star began to shine very brightly and began to emit great heat, and because of that I moved away from it. And this being appeared, I did nothing, said the Emperor without taking his eyes off that god of destruction that was with bands by the body. Frieza, now that there was no more dust, began to analyze that being to see if he knew which race or planet he belonged to. That being had dark skin with some cracks, and his body was almost completely bandaged, and his eyes were a strong red. In addition, what most caught Frieza's attention was that he wore a god of destruction outfit, apart from what he wore on his head, which was something similar to the pharaohs of ancient times on planet Earth. Frieza thought, what is it? He has an aura and energy of a god of destruction, with the Hakaishin costume. What is he? Who is he really? Asked the Emperor as he looked at the mysterious being who wore the costume of the gods of destruction. The mysterious god of destruction spoke. I haven't felt the wind in my tracks for a long time. I would like to thank the one who removed the star from the pedestal and freed me from the clutches of death. I want the one who freed me to speak up, said the mysterious Hakaishin, claiming his aura and looking at everyone in the place. Thanks to the Hakaishin having claimed his aura, Frieza's soldiers who were on the ground could breathe normally again, and the rest no longer felt a weight on their bodies. One of the soldiers spoke. Who are you, and what do you do with the star that belonged to Lord Frieza? Said a low-class soldier who had risen and was now trying to act brave and confident. The soldier thought, if I act with courage in front of that being, maybe Lord Frieza will give me some reward, like a great fortune or a title that makes me superior to the others in the army, thought the low-level soldier while pretending to have courage and confidence in front of him. The mysterious god of destruction spoke. Were you the one who removed the star from the pedestal? Asked the mysterious god of destruction while looking at Frieza's soldier who caught his attention. The soldier said no, it wasn't me who removed the star from the pedestal. Now don't pretend that, said the soldier before being interrupted by something that crossed his body, that everyone present looked at the soldier who had called the Hakaishin's attention and saw that there was a hole in the place where the heart was originally of the soldier, who soon after fell to the ground, dead. Frieza thought, he's fast. I couldn't even see him firing the attack. He wasn't just fast, but he was also accurate. Besides having a destructive power, fast, accurate, and destructive, I have to be careful before acting against this being, thought the Emperor as he watched the attack of the mysterious Hakaishin, which was faster than his eyes could follow. The mysterious god of destruction spoke. If you weren't responsible for my rebirth, then you should be silent. Now I would like the one who revived me to speak out, and only him, said the god of destruction while looking with contempt at everyone in the place, except Frieza, because he had a lot of power, and that god of destruction could feel it. Frieza said, I was the one who revived him. I was responsible for having removed the star from the pedestal. Now that you know that I am the one who removed the star from the pedestal, I would like to know who you are, and where is my star, said the Emperor, speaking for the first time in that place, attracting the Hakaishin's attention. Big Mun spoke. My name is Big Mun, the god of destruction of the 13th universe. The star? It disappeared. It can only be used once, and I used it thousands of years ago. And now that my wish has been fulfilled, the star has disappeared from all eternity, spoke the god of destruction, revealing his name, and that the star could not more to be possessed by the Emperor, who upon hearing that was very angry that he could no longer have his wish fulfilled because of Big Mun. Frieza said, What do you mean you used the star millions of years ago? She was here not long ago. Tell me, where is the star? The Emperor spoke in a louder tone, unable to contain his anger. Big Mun said, I made a wish thousands of years ago for the star to revive me after many years, but I should have already revived, so that means that someone must have found a way to prevent or delay the star's wish. But thanks to you, I came back. Now lower your tone, you insolent mortal. I am a Hakaishin, and not a servant like those who follow you. Shut up or I will have to kill you, spoke the god of destruction to the Emperor, who was no longer concerned with the amount of power he felt a short while ago. Frieza thought, I don't care anymore. I know he's strong for being a god of destruction, but I have the power that matches the power of the Hakaishins, so let's see who will be the winner, thought the Emperor as he looked at the god of destruction in front of him. Frieza, seeing that his plan had already been ruined, he didn't care anymore and advanced against Big Mun, who easily dodged the attack. Then Frieza fired several key spheres in the direction of the Hakaishin that received all the attacks, but none of them had any effect on him. Big Mun spoke. It seems that you are not as weak as those others who follow you. If you want to defeat me, come with all your power, because I know you're not using your full power yet. Don't underestimate me, you worm, spoke the Hakaishin, looking at the Emperor. Frieza spoke. Who do you think you're calling a worm? Said the Emperor, furious with the way the Hakaishin had called him. Frieza, because of his anger, ended up activating his divine power, making a golden aura surround his body. And as soon as it disappeared, Frieza's body was in a golden form. It was the power of Golden Frieza. Frieza, now in his divine form, advanced against the Hakaishin, who, upon seeing that, was surprised that Frieza had a divine power. But even surprised, the Hakaishin did not lower his guard, and at the time the Emperor approached him, trying to punch him. The Hakaishin, who saw that, dodged to the left and took the opportunity to punch the Emperor's ribs. But Big Mun didn't stop. He hit Frieza's abdomen with a kick, then grabbed Frieza's tail and threw him against the enemy floor, creating a crater. Big Mun said, Is that all you've got? How disappointing. When I felt your divine power, I thought you would be strong. But that's just it. You only have brute force and not combat technique. Because if you have it, I don't see it, the Hakaishin said in a tone of contempt. After all, what Frieza had done wasn't something surprising, and anyone with the minimum of technique could do. Frieza spoke. It's not necessary technique or martial arts skills for one who possesses supreme strength. Now you will witness the power of Black Frieza, said the Emperor, releasing a large amount of energy, causing the place where they were to begin to collapse. All Frieza's warriors immediately left the place, leaving only the two warriors. With the soldiers and the counselor outside the temple, it was possible to see the temple was collapsing. After a few seconds, the entire pyramid fell to the ground. Some debris began to float, and suddenly in the center where the star was, a big explosion happened, and two auras rose to the heavens, being the auras of Big Mun and Frieza, who was now in the strongest form titled Black Frieza, in the 7th universe. Currently on the planet that was at the limits of the 7th universe, it was possible to see on the largest floating island that the huge pyramid where the star that would grant a wish to its bearer was no longer standing, because Big Mun and Frieza, who was in his strongest form called Black Frieza, had destroyed the pyramid by raising their powers, and now Big Mun and Frieza were on top of the place where the pyramid's wreckage was. Big Mun spoke. That black form of yours is much more powerful than that golden form, so that must be your current maximum power. I must admit that this power of yours is impressive, and I would say that you must be as strong as a god of destruction, said the god of destruction, admitting that Frieza was as strong as a god of destruction, something that made the Emperor give an arrogant smile. Frieza said, About me having a power that equals that of a god of destruction, that I already knew, but thank you for confirming, said the Emperor with a big arrogant smile on his face. This made Big Mun laugh, leaving the Emperor confused. Big Mun spoke. Make no mistake, you have power that matches that of a god of destruction, but in our base form. All gods of destruction possess a form that releases the true power of destruction, so even the weakest of the gods of destruction, upon activating this power, could face the strongest god of destruction, and depending upon who was activating this power, it could even face an angel and defeat him. But angels also have a similar power that makes them much stronger, so you can even be stronger. But you couldn't face a god of destruction using 100%, said the god of destruction to Frieza, who was shocked to learn that the gods of destruction possessed even greater power than Frieza thought and saw. Frieza thought, so the gods of destruction and angels have a supreme form. Shit, I thought that by being able to handle the power of destruction at the time of the Tournament of Power, I had become strong, and until now that I have my black form, I thought that I could overcome the gods of destruction. But now that I know, I will have to come up with a new plan to become a god of destruction, so that I can defeat Big Mun and assume his position as god of destruction, thought the Emperor as he looked at Big Mun, who was waiting for Frieza to act. Big Mun said, You are strong and very greedy, so I would say that you are after the position of the destruction god. If so, I'm right here. Defeat me and absorb my energy of destruction. This will automatically make you a god of destruction, and thus you can rule my universe. Of course, if it still exists, said the god of destruction, when analyzing the Emperor, and come to the conclusion that Frieza was looking for the power of a god of destruction, and that saying that would be a good incentive. Frieza spoke. Absorb your energy of destruction? Asked the curious Emperor about the way he could become a god of destruction. Big Mun said, That's right. If you defeat me, you can absorb my energy of destruction and become the new god of destruction of the 13th universe. That was how the new gods of destruction of my time were chosen. And it was from this, so that I became the god of destruction of the 13th universe. Now that I've motivated you enough, are you going to stand there or are you going to come and face me? Asked the god of destruction, provoking the emperor for them to face each other. Frieza said, "It's good to know. So I will defeat you, and thus gain the power of a god of destruction. And with that I will go to your universe to govern it. But if your universe is destroyed, I will have to kill one of the current ones, gods of destruction, and take their place," said the emperor, deciding to face Big Mom to get his power. Something that made the god of destruction smile because he wanted to face the emperor. Big Mom thought, "It's been years since I fought. Let's see if I still know how to fight, and especially how to use my powers correctly," thought the god of destruction, putting himself in a combat posture. Frieza, now more motivated than ever, he advanced against Big Mom, who waited for the emperor to approach him. When Frieza was close enough, he tried to punch Big Mom, but Big Mom managed to drop and tried to do the same thing at the last time. However, Frieza already expected it and managed to fire a ray made of ki from his fingertips toward the god of destruction, who managed to dodge the attack, but could not dodge a kick given by Frieza that made him fly for a few meters. Big Mom managed to stabilize himself in the air and at the same time advanced against the Emperor, who was surprised by his high speed. The only thing the Emperor managed to do was cross his arms to defend himself from Big Mom's attacks. The attack made by the god of destruction was strong enough to make Frieza fly, but unlike Big Mom, Frieza did not stabilize in the air but continued to fly, and seeing this, Big Mom went after him, flying at high speed after the Emperor. Big Mom managed to follow Frieza to a quarry, which was well destroyed by Frieza's attacks, which was floating over the place. When Big Mom went after Frieza, he was forced to dodge a large stone that was thrown at him by Frieza, who had used his power to do that. Frieza, using his power, began to make thousands of stones float, and launched them against the god of destruction, who began to destroy them using his fists. Until tired of doing that, Big Mom made an aura of destruction surround his body, causing everything that touched him to disintegrate, making the thousands of stones thrown by Frieza become light purple particles. This hindered Frieza's vision, and when the particles disappeared, the god of destruction was no longer in that place. Frieza tried to go to where the god of destruction was, but when Frieza tried to do that, he felt something holding his arm. And when he looked at his arm, he saw it wrapped in a yellowish cloth, imbued with the energy of destruction. Frieza could see Big Mom looking at him with a smile on his face, as those were the cloths that were wrapped around the body of the 13th universe god of destruction. Big Mom with great strength pulled his cloths, causing Frieza to be pulled together, and using his strength, Big Mom began to rotate in the place where he was, and the more Big Mom rotated, the stronger the type of tornado became, which was being generated by the strength and speed applied at that location. But they were in a quarry and Frieza was trapped, wrapped in Big Mom's cloths. Frieza ended up hitting the mountains that were there several times. Frieza, in a fury, managed to break free from Big Mom's cloths, and then fired at high speed at Big Mom, who did the same thing. And then the two ended up meeting in the sky, and when they approached each other, both tried to punch the others. But their fists ended up meeting, generating a large impact wave, due to the force used by the two. After their fists collided, both separated and then advanced towards each other, starting a rain of blows. The impact wave of the attacks was strong enough to pulverize everything around. The exchange of blows between Big Mom and Frieza became increasingly violent. Even more so when Frieza began to fire a blast of ki against the god of destruction, who managed to dodge most of them. After all, Frieza's ki blows hurt the god of destruction, even though he used the energy of destruction as a barrier. Big Mom said, "It's been a while since I used that technique. Let's see if I can still do it," said the god of destruction, moving away from Frieza and concentrating. In a matter of seconds, Big Mom closed his eyes and then opened them, and using his power, all the elements such as stone, wood, and things like that were in the place began to take the form of a type of humanoid dog that began to fly, until all those beings that were created by Big Mom were close to their creator. Frieza spoke, "What kind of power is this? He managed to transform the local elements into beings that are powered by ki. He literally just created an army," said the Emperor while looking at the newly created army of Big Mom. Big Mom said, "Let's see if you can face me and my army at the same time. For someone who seeks the power of a god of destruction, it should be easy to accomplish this feat. So what do you say?" said the god of destruction with an arrogant smile on his face. Seeing that, Frieza ended up getting very angry, because even though Big Mom's army was weak, it would still be boring to face them. But at the same moment, Frieza ended up remembering that he also had an army, and right at that time the spaceship of Frieza was flying over that place. And then when the ship landed, all the members of the army left and stayed behind Frieza. Frieza said, "Let's see which army is better now. But don't worry, I'll be the one you'll have to face to death," said the Emperor with a dangerous glint in his eye. In the 7th universe. Currently on the planet that is at the limits of the 7th universe, it was possible to see Frieza facing Big Mun. Both had their armies behind them. Frieza's army was heavily armed with high-tech equipment. Since Big Mun's army did not have technology, but each of them had a great amount of power. And in that way, we could say that both the armies were on an equal footing, or that's what it seemed at that moment. Big Mun said, "You even have a big army, but are they strong enough to defeat my army?" said the curious god of destruction about whether those who followed Frieza were strong, or just disposable parts that Frieza could easily sacrifice. Frieza said, "I guarantee you, yes. This army of mine has already dominated several planets, and thanks to them, I am considered the Emperor of the 7th universe. Besides, my army is the most powerful in this universe," said the Emperor while looking in an arrogant and proud way at the god of destruction of the 13th universe. Big Mun said, "I wonder if they've at least faced truly strong beings. After all, you seem to be the type of being that goes after the weak and governs them by the base of strength. But now that they are facing opponents who are really strong, I want to know if they will retreat or fight to the death," said the god of destruction, provoking Frieza, who ended up falling for the provocation of the god of destruction. Frieza said, "That answer is easy. My army is stronger than yours, and because of that, your army will be crushed by mine," said the Emperor to the god of destruction, who only gave a small and short smile. Frieza spoke, "And right now, I will prove to you that this army conquered several planets and civilizations. My army, attack!" ordered the Emperor to his army, who upon hearing their master's orders, advanced against Big Mun's army. Big Mun spoke, "My dear companions, eliminate my enemies, and make them know how the sweet embrace of death feels. Kill them all!" ordered the god of destruction to his army, which gave a great roar, and then advanced against Frieza's army. After ordering their respective armies to advance toward each other, Frieza and Big Mun stood facing each other. Both looked at their armies facing each other and killing each other. Frieza's army was the one that was suffering the most casualties because, just as Big Mun had said, his army was stronger than Frieza's army. But the Emperor's army was in greater numbers, and that helped them to eliminate the members of the Gods of Destruction's army. During the fight between Frieza's army and Big Mun's army, some soldiers from both parties managed to reach the rival leaders and tried to attack them, something that proved to be useless, as everyone who tried to face Frieza ended up being defeated by a ki attack, and those who tried to hit Big Mun were erased by the aura of destruction that disintegrated everything that tried to touch the God of Destruction. Big Mun weighed in. "I'm already wasting a lot of time with these jokes. I don't know if the current Gods of Destruction will come after me. Maybe they felt that I came back, and the current God of Destruction of this universe will come after me, so I have to end it soon," thought the God of Destruction, who decided to stop just watching the fight and start acting. Frieza watched Big Mun for a few seconds until Big Mun disappeared when a member of his army passed in front of him, and when Frieza realized, Big Mun was already beside him. Big Mun appeared beside Frieza, kicked the Emperor, who managed to defend himself using his arm, but because of the impact, the Emperor was thrown away. Frieza in midair managed to balance and dodge a kick from Big Mun. After doing so, Frieza, using his tail, held the leg of the God of Destruction and spun him, as if he were a pawn. Frieza released the leg of the God of Destruction. This caused him to be thrown against a stone wall, which due to the force of the impact ended up creating some cracks in the wall. Big Mun recovered quickly and managed to dodge a punch from Frieza that ended up hitting and destroying the stone wall. Then Big Mun hit a punch in the abdomen of the Emperor, who, when he felt the blow, grunted in pain. Frieza tried to hit the God of Destruction, but Big Mun wasn't kidding anymore. He managed to defend himself easily and then started a combo of 2 punches in the stomach, and another punch from below upwards on the Emperor's chin, who ended up being lifted off the ground because of the force of the blow. But Big Mun didn't stop there, as he grabbed the Emperor's tail and hurled him into a mountain, and to finish it off, fired a sphere of pure energy of destruction in Frieza's direction. Frieza, seeing Big Mun's attack coming towards him, simply kicked the attack away, and when the attack reached the ground, a big explosion ended up happening, and with it, a great destruction was caused. Frieza spoke. "Don't think you'll defeat me easily," said the Emperor, advancing at high speed towards Big Mun, who did the same thing. Both warriors started to face each other in the air. Sounds of punches and kicks could be heard for kilometers from the location, and thanks to the release of Frieza and Big Mun's energy, they ended up making the planet react. And with that, a storm began to form on the planet. The energy they were releasing was being drained by the very atmosphere of that planet. With that, thunder began to fall on the earth, but these thunders were bathed in divine energy, an energy of destruction. Thanks to the storm, the army on both sides was surprised, as the thunder was being attracted to beings with less ki, and as everyone in the Frieza and Big Mom army had a smaller amount of ki, the thunder began to eliminate them, and little time later, the armies had been destroyed. Only those inside the spaceship who were not combatants ended up surviving. Frieza and Big Mom were so focused on that fight that they didn't even care about their armies being eliminated. The thunder that was chasing them was constantly irritating Big Mom and Frieza. Big Mom thought, "These thunders are annoying. I'm going to have to take this battle off the planet. It'll be easier for me to move there. These thunders won't be able to follow me there," thought the god of destruction before kicking Frieza, making him move away. Then Big Mom flew off the planet and Frieza did the same thing, following him off the planet. Now Frieza and Big Mom were off the planet. They advanced against each other, and this time both ended up hitting each other. They separated and again advanced against each other. Because of the speed of both, it was only possible to see two energy trails, a darker violet that belonged to Black Frieza, and the other trail, a violet with a little red in it, that being Big Mom's. Big Mom thought, "This battle is already going on for too long. I have to end it soon," thought the god of destruction while facing the Emperor, who until now was holding up well in that fight. Frieza spoke. "You previously said that I would be strong enough to defeat a god of destruction, and I agree with you. And to confirm this theory, I just need to defeat you here and now," said the Emperor, disappearing and reappearing in front of Big Mom. Frieza hit him with a powerful punch in the face, making him be launched against an asteroid. Big Mom thought, "That's enough. My powers have just returned, and using my full god of destruction form is a risk. But if I don't, I'll be killed by him. And I'm getting to feel some energy from the current god of destruction. He's coming after me," thought Big Mom, already becoming apprehensive about being found by the current god of destruction in that dimension. Big Mom, already tired and in a hurry to finish that fight, began to release a lot of energy from the destruction, making the clots on his body turn purple, with a reddish tint. In addition to his eyes that stopped being red and became a dark purple, and everything around Big Mom ended up being completely disintegrated. Frieza, seeing all that power, even not admitting it, felt very afraid of that overwhelming power. After a few seconds, the Emperor was able to see how Big Mom was when he was with his full power of the god of destruction. Big Mom spoke. "This battle is over," said the god of destruction with an altered tone of voice. Frieza was unable to react when Big Mom appeared in front of him and trapped him using his clothes. Then Big Mom began to give Frieza several blows until he ended up passing out, and thus returning to his base form. Seeing that the Emperor was already defeated, Big Mom would finish him using Hakai. But he was too weak, having used his full power in that form. And because of that, the god of destruction left that place, leaving Frieza wandering through space. In the 7th universe. Somewhere in the 7th universe, it was possible to see Big Mom inside a kind of cave on any planet, far away from the place where he was previously. The god of destruction of the 13th universe was in his normal form. Big Mom was quite out of breath after using his true god of destruction power. Big Mom spoke. "I wasn't expecting Black Frieza to push me to my limit and force me to use my true god of destruction form. This is really disappointing. A god of destruction that has already been enshrined as being the strongest god of destruction, capable of injuring an angel, even if it was a minor injury. I was the only being to manage to injure an angel, and that led to my downfall. The fear that one day I would rebel against the other gods of destruction. If I had the same level as the angels, I could even rebel against them." The god of destruction spoke to himself while looking at the cave wall that was getting darker, because it was getting dark on that planet. Big Mom said, "I shouldn't have used my full power in that form. But if I hadn't done that, the god of this universe would have found me, and probably his angel would have captured me and taken me to the Daishinkan, who would kill me again, and this time it would be permanent. So having used my true form of god of destruction was right," said the god of destruction, panting, as he had used a lot of energy in the fight against Black Frieza, and used even more energy during his escape. Big Mom said, "But at the end of the day, using that power left me too worn out. My whole body is aching, and besides that, I'm all out of energy, so I'll have to sleep in this place today, and tomorrow I'll have to go after supplies, and only then will I be able to go after those Dragon Balls created by beings from another dimension called Namekusendins. I think that's how they are called, or were in my time. After all, things have changed a lot since the time I was still alive and led the 13th universe," said the tired god of destruction. After a few minutes, Big Mom lay down and ended up sleeping in that place. At the edge of the 7th universe a few hours ago. A few hours ago on the planet that is at the edge of the seventh universe, and where previously the star that could grant all wishes was, it was possible to see a large pillar of light approaching the planet. The pillar stopped before entering the planet, and then the pillar disappeared, revealing that inside it was Beerus and Whis. Both had gone to that place in search of a strange energy that only the gods of destruction or their successors could emit. Whis said, "Mr. Beerus, are you sure it was in this direction that you felt the energy of a god of destruction?" he asked the angel to his god of destruction. Beerus said, "Yes, Whis, I'm sure it was in that direction, and I think the energy must have come from this planet," said the god of destruction to his angel. Whis said, "Okay, so let's take a closer look and let's try to find out which of the gods of destruction came to your universe without introducing yourself to you first. I just hope it's not some god of destruction wanting to fight with you. It would be a tragedy, two gods of destruction facing each other," said the angel with one of his hands on his cheek, while the other held his angel staff. Beerus said, "If it's some god of destruction looking for trouble, he's found the right place. I'm already getting a little rusty from not fighting or destroying planets lately. Now enough talk and let's go, Whis," ordered the god of destruction to his angel. Whis said, "Yes, sir," said the angel, hitting his staff in midair, making another pillar of energy surround him and Beerus. Then the pillar went towards the planet, reaching the ground in a matter of seconds. Upon reaching the planet's soil, Beerus and Whis were surprised at the state of the planet, as there was a great storm of divine energy and energy of destruction that were mixed in that lightning storm. One of the rays tried to hit Beerus, but Whis created a barrier and prevented the ray from hitting him. Beerus said, "Now I understood why I felt the energy of a god of destruction on this planet. This storm was created using the energy of a god of destruction and divine energy. Analyzing now, I think I recognize this energy," said the god of destruction, analyzing the divine energy that was in place. Whis said, "I also think I already know whose energy this is. The divine energy belongs to Frieza, when he uses that form called Black Frieza. But this other energy, I felt it before, but I can't recognize whose it is," said the angel while looking at the sky and seeing the storm of lightning and thunder that was happening on the planet. Beerus spoke. "Now that you mention it, this energy really belongs to Frieza. But who did he face to leave the planet in such a chaotic state? And why exactly this planet?" asked the god of destruction while trying to recognize the owner of that energy of destruction. Whis said, "I don't know, Mr. Beerus. Let's ask Frieza about this. I'm feeling that he is close to this planet," said the angel while feeling Frieza's energy and seeing that the Emperor was not so far from where Beerus and Whis were. Beerus said, "Since that's how it is, let's go after him and find out who he fought against to leave this planet in this way," said the god of destruction to his angel. Upon hearing Beerus's orders, Whis hits his staff twice on the ground, causing the two to be teleported off the planet. They passed close to some asteroids that were destroyed, leaving a trail of destruction in which it showed that a battle had taken place there. Among the asteroids was Frieza's knocked-out body that was badly injured. Frieza was now in his base form. Beerus said, "I don't know who was responsible for that, but I know it wasn't someone weak, because Frieza was defeated in his current strongest form. And when Frieza uses that form, he should be able to hurt and even defeat a god of destruction," said the god of destruction, with a serious expression on his face as he looked around, still feeling the trail of energy of destruction. Beerus said, "Whis, take Frieza and take us to planet Earth. When we get there, we're going to interrogate Frieza to find out who his opponent was and what he wanted," said the god of destruction to his angel. Whis said, "Yes, Sir Beerus," said the angel using his staff to create an energy bubble around Frieza. And then Whis approached Beerus, who held the angel's shoulder. And then Whis hit his staff in the air of that place. And once again, they were enveloped from a dome of light and disappeared at high speed with planet Earth as their destination. Planet Earth. Currently on planet Earth, more precisely in the Capsule Corporation, it was possible to see Bulma with her family and Chi-Chi's family eating together. Meanwhile, everyone could see and hear Goku and Vegeta, who were further away from their families. Facing each other, the impact waves of the blows caused a great noise, but luckily in the place where Bulma was, it didn't make such a loud noise. Bulma said, "Every time these two see each other, they start to face off. These Saiyans are moved only by battles and nothing more than that. Our luck is that our children are not like that, Chi-Chi," said the blue-haired woman to Son Goku's wife. Chi-Chi said, "I have to agree with you, Bulma. We are very lucky that our children only fight when it's necessary and not because they like to do it, like Goku and Vegeta," Chi-Chi said, agreeing with Bulma, while taking a little bit of a type of vitamin that Bulma was taking. But soon the conversation between the woman and the training of the Saiyans was interrupted by an energy pillar that appeared in the middle of the place, attracting everyone's attention. When the pillar disappeared, everyone could see Beerus and Whis, and next to the angel there was a sphere of green light. Goku said, "Mr. Beerus, what are you doing here? Have you come to eat something?" asked the Saiyan, curious about why the god of destruction was in that place. Beerus said, "We came today not with the purpose of eating, even if I don't mind doing that during the time I'm here," said the god of destruction when he looked at the table and saw that there was pudding on it. Vegeta spoke. "If they didn't come to eat like they always do, what did they come to do here on Earth?" asked the Saiyan prince to Beerus and his angel. Beerus said, "We came to solve a problem, only that this guy will tell me what it is," said the god of destruction while looking at Whis, who soon undid the energy bubble and let Frieza's body fall to the ground, surprising everyone in the place. Goku and Vegeta said, "Frieza," said both Saiyans at the same time when they saw the body of their main arch-enemy on the ground, all wounded. In the 7th universe. Currently in the 7th universe, being more precise, on planet Earth, it was possible to see Frieza lying on a bed that was in a hospital area that had in the Capsule Corporation, and the Emperor had been sleeping for some time. But now he was just waking up, and in that moment he opened his eyes and looked around. He didn't recognize the place, something that made him get up quickly. Frieza thought, "Where am I? This place doesn't look like my ship, or any other of my bases spread across the universe. In reality, this technology and this type of construction reminds me of humans," thought the Emperor as he looked everywhere. But soon the Emperor would leave that place, but ended up feeling a great pain in his abdomen. Frieza said, "That damn almost killed me. I'm only alive now because he had mercy on me. So I, Emperor Frieza, was spared from death by a worm, like that goddamn god of destruction that came back from the dead," spoke the angry Emperor, and soon hitting his tail on the wall, making a loud noise, as he had broken the wall because of the force that he had used. Because of the noise of Frieza's blow, it ended up attracting the attention of those outside that room, and soon the door was opened, and Frieza could see that the one who entered the room was the Angel of the Universe, Whis. Whis said, "Looks like you finally woke up, Mr. Frieza. You've already had your body recovered, but I recommend that you don't move too much because you'll feel pain in the places where you were most injured," Whis said as he entered the medical wing where Frieza, who was now sure he was on an enemy planet that he hates the most. Frieza said, "What am I doing on this planet, Whis, and why was I brought here? Also, I would like to know how they found me," said the Emperor, asking a series of questions to the Angel of the 7th universe. Whis said, "Don't worry, I'll answer your questions, but you'll also have to answer some of my questions for Mr. Beerus," said the Angel to the Emperor. Frieza said, "I think it's fair. Now tell me why I'm here, and how did you manage to find me? I was on the edge of the 7th universe, so how do you find me?" The Emperor spoke while he looked at the Angel. Whis said, "Mr. Beerus and I were on the planet of the God of Destruction when we felt an energy of destruction coming from somewhere in the limits of the 7th universe. So we went to investigate, and when we got there we found you. And as you can see, you fought with someone who owns the energy of destruction, the Hakai. So we brought him to planet Earth for us to interrogate you. Now that I've answered your question, you'll have to answer one of mine. So please follow me and don't try any tricks, because if not, Mr. Beerus will kill you. And this time for sure," said the Angel, leaving the room and going to where Beerus was, with Frieza following along. Soon Whis took Frieza to the place where Beerus was, and after some time walking, Whis arrived at the garden where Beerus was sitting at the table, eating some things with Goku and Vegeta, who were doing the same thing as the God of Destruction. Whis said, "Mr. Beerus, our guest is already awake and seems to be fine, but he will need some time to recover," said the Angel, approaching Frieza. Beerus said, "Frieza, sit down, and tell us who was the being you faced and left you on the brink of death," said the God of Destruction, stopping eating and looking at the Emperor, who sat down in front of Beerus. Frieza spoke, "Why should I answer your question, Beerus? I won't gain anything by doing this for you," said the Emperor with a teasing look on Beerus. Beerus said, "You will win the gift of staying alive, Frieza, because if you don't tell me who you faced, I will kill you here and now," said the God of Destruction, releasing a little bit of his Hakai. Frieza said, "I'll talk. As far as I know, the guy I faced, he was called Big Mun, and he's a god of destruction, or he was a god of destruction," said the Emperor to Beerus, who didn't know if he was the god of destruction. In fact, but Whis knew a lot well who he was and was shocked to learn that he was alive. Whis said, "That's impossible. Big Mun was killed thousands of years ago, and I was there. I saw his death, so it must be a mistake, said the angel when he heard that Big Mun is alive again. Beerus spoke. Do you know him, Whis? Asked the god of destruction as he looked at his angel. Whis said, Big Mun was a god of destruction that ruled the 13th universe and was considered the strongest god of destruction, reaching the point of being able to hurt his angel during training, and that worried all of us with the possibility of him being able to overcome the angels someday. He was kind of weird because he wanted to defeat and kill the angels, so we made the decision to defeat Big Mun, and my father the Daishinkan killed him. And then this happened at the time that 6 of the 18 universes were erased by the Zenosama, said the angel while looking at his god of destruction, who was very surprised and shocked by the fact that a god of destruction of that caliber had existed, and he didn't know about this story. Frieza said, Looks like he's really famous. Like it or not, I must admit that his fame is right. He easily defeated me when he activated the true power of the gods of destruction, but I felt that he is still weak. His power must have weakened because of the time he had been dead, said the Emperor, attracting everyone's attention to him. Beerus said, You must be talking nonsense, Frieza. If Zenosama and the High Priest killed him, it's impossible that he came back to life somehow. And moreover, why was he in the limits of the 7th universe? Asked the god of destruction to the Emperor. Frieza spoke, I was on that planet, behind the star that was said to have been created by the dragon god Zalama. The star would grant my wish, but when I picked up the star, it started to shine, and from its shine came Big Mun. But it doesn't end there. Big Mun told me that he knew he would be killed, and because of that he made a wish on the star for him to come back to life someday. And when I found the star, his wish was activated, and in this way he came back to life. And if I doubt, everyone who belongs to the 13th universe must have come back to life, and I'm sure he will want revenge. And if he regains his true strength, and you, Beerus, will not be able to defeat Big Mun, said the Emperor, leaving everyone with fear. After all, really, Big Mun could go after the gods to take revenge. Now with Big Mun. Currently with the god of destruction, it could be seen that he was wandering around the 7th universe looking for something. Big Mun thought, if I'm correct, she must be on one of the planets, but which one? I already know. She must be on that planet that she spoke so much to me in the past. I just hope she's still there and that she still remembers me, thought the god of destruction, already with a target on his mind, and soon he took off in the direction of a certain planet. After some time flying through the vacuum of space, the god of destruction, Big Mun, arrives at his destination, which is a planet that is on the limits of the 7th universe. The planet in question was similar to planet Earth, but it had much more sand and water than planet Earth. Big Mun soon entered the planet and flew to a place where his angel liked to go, when the two went together to the 7th universe. Big Mun spoke. This place is still the same as the last time I came here. I hope you're here, said the god of destruction, soon landing on the soft sand of that planet. Soon the god of destruction began to walk all over the place in search of his angel, until in the middle of some foliage, he ended up seeing a pair of rabbit ears, something that made a god of destruction heave a heavy sigh. Big Mun thought, even after a long time, she still likes to dress up. It seems that certain things never change, thought the god of destruction before disappearing and reappearing in front of the foliage, soon taking the rabbit ears and pulling them upwards, causing the ears to come off the head of the being who was crouching in that place. The mysterious being spoke. My bunny ears, said the being that was inside the foliage. Big Mun said, Stop playing and get out of these foliage now, Amanet. Spoke the god of destruction authoritatively, and soon a woman with white hair, bluish skin, wearing an outfit that all angels wear, but red, came out of the foliage, and she had her nose painted black. Amanet spoke. Sir Big Mun, firstly, could you give me back my bunny ears? Secondly, I would like to know why you took so long to come after me, said the angel while looking at her god of destruction. Big Mun said, It's good. At least someone still knows me and doesn't want to kill me. Take those rabbit ears of yours. I didn't come after you because only a short time ago I came back to life, with the help of star power. But I'm still weak, said the god of destruction, already returning his rabbit hair bow to his angel, who soon put it on. Amanet spoke. I say the same, Lord. It's good to see you and serve you again. Now I already know a way to regain your power and maybe become stronger than back then. He spoke to the angel with a big smile as his god of destruction, who was surprised and excited. Big Mun said, I forgot how helpful you are, Amanet. Now tell me how I can get my power back and maybe get even stronger, said the god of destruction with a smile on his face. Amanet spoke. To recover your power, you will have to use something that in this universe they call dragon spheres. And according to my research, there is one of them that can recover your power and maybe make you even stronger than before, Mr. Big Moon. We are going to need 2 Dragon Balls, one with 1 star and the other with 2 stars, both of which are small, said the angel, invoking her staff and creating a hologram of the Dragon Balls. Big Moon said, "Great. Our goal now is to find those spheres, and then I'll have my power again. And with that, I'll have my revenge," said the god of destruction with a big smile on his face.
In the 7th universe, it was possible to see Big Moo and Aminet on the same planet where they had met again. The god of destruction, Big Moo, was still recovering, because the way Big Moo was, he could be destroyed easily by any warrior, and he didn't want something like that to happen. Big Moo spoke. "Aminet, what happened to the 13th universe after my death? Were there other gods of destruction after me?" asked the god of destruction to his angel, who was jumping up and down pretending to be a rabbit, something that made the god of destruction slap himself, because he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Aminet said, "Not really. After his death, Zuno made the decision to destroy the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th universe. I don't remember very well why, but I think that it was because the gods of destruction of these universes were following their example of rebelling against the angels. Or that's what I heard," said the angel, taking a carrot from inside the dimension of her staff and eating it. Big Moo spoke. "And the angels of those universes, what happened to them? And what did you do after the 13th universe was destroyed?" asked the god of destruction to his angel, who ate the carrot very happily. Aminet spoke. "The angels of the eliminated universes ended up being sealed away until the right time came for them to be released and returned to their universes. But for that to happen, the universes would have to be restored. But I didn't really believe that, so I stayed here on this planet waiting for you to come back. After all, knowing you, I already knew that you would have a plan to come back to life if you were killed," said the angel as she finished eating the carrot. Big Moo spoke. "Good to know that you know me well enough to know that I wouldn't accept my death so easily. Well, do you know where those Dragon Balls are, which you said would bring my powers back?" said the god of destruction, asking his angel about the Dragon Balls. Aminet said, "Yes, master. I already know the location of one of the spheres, and apparently it is the 1-star sphere. As for the 2-star sphere, I still don't know where it is. But if we get the 1-star sphere, I can do it track the 2-star sphere," said the angel while looking at the hologram of the 1-star sphere that was coming out of her staff. Big Moo said, "So if we take the 1-star sphere, we'll be able to find out the location of the other sphere. Well, does the planet where the 1-star sphere is, does it have intelligent life? If so, are they strong?" asked the god of destruction to his angel, who started to locate where the sphere was and find out a little more about the planet where the sphere was. Aminet spoke. "Apparently the planet where the 1-star sphere is has intelligent life, and they are considerably strong. They are as strong as that race that you destroyed, because they made fun of your rags and your skin full of cracks," spoke to Anya while looking at her god of destruction, who soon began to think about the race he eliminated in his universe many years ago, just because they laughed at the cloths he had on his body. Big Moo said, "They really deserve to die. I've never seen such a lack of respect for a god of destruction, but they weren't that weak, and in my current state, I should be able to defeat the people on the planet where we'll find the 1-star sphere and anything you can use your power to heal me, since unfortunately you can't use it to help me restore my powers. It's been so long since I've felt what it's like to be weak that it's driving me crazy. Aminet, I'm ready. Let's go to this planet and get this Dragon Ball," said the god of destruction, already prepared to face the warriors of the planet where the sphere of 1 star was. Aminet said, "If that's what you want, master, then let's go get the first Dragon Ball," said Anya, swinging her staff and creating a portal. Then she and Big Moo went through the portal that led to the planet where the 1-star dragon sphere would be. On any planet, on a planet similar to the planet Mars and the planet Earth together, it was possible to see a portal being formed on top of a city. According to the angel, it was in that city that the dragon sphere of 1 star was located, and from that portal came Big Moo, and at his side was Aminet, who had his staff in hand. Big Moo spoke. "Is this where the Dragon Ball is located, Aminet?" asked the god of destruction to his Anya. Aminet said, "Yes, sir, and that city is the 1-star dragon sphere. Being more precise, sir, the sphere is in that temple, but I must say that in that temple there are very strong warriors, so if you enter a battle, only to defeat or kill them using your Hakai, because you are too weak to prolong the fights, as you always did in the old days," said Anya to her god of destruction, who just nodded in agreement with her Anya. Big Moo and Amunet went to the place where the Dragon Ball was. The place was very similar to a temple, and after entering that place, they were received by a group of warriors. The leader spoke. "Who are you, and what do you want in our Temple of the Stars?" asked the man who seemed to be the leader of all those warriors. Big Moo said, "We came after a sphere with a star. You know where it is," said the God of Destruction while looking at the leader of that group. Leader spoke. "The sphere is under our protection, so get out of here soon, or face us and die," said the warrior while looking at the God of Destruction. Big Moo said, "Okay, you don't have to worry, we'll be on our way." "Come on, Amunet," said the God of Destruction, leaving that place with his angel. Amunet said, "If you are going to do what I think you are going to, I would say that the dragon sphere will not be destroyed by your Hakai, but try not to use it at full power. In addition, I have created a barrier around the sphere. However, the sphere is weak, which is making it difficult for me to know its location," said Anya to her God of Destruction. Both were floating the temple where the dragon sphere was. Big Moo said, "That's good to know," said the God of Destruction, creating several spheres containing the energy of destruction, and then throwing the spheres against the temple, which was destroyed by the attacks. The warriors who were inside had died because of Big Moo's attack and because of the debris that had fallen on them. Big Moo said, "Well, I think everyone is already dead, and I didn't have to fight them like you asked me to. Now, you can go get the dragon sphere, so that later we can find out where the second sphere is, so that I can use it to recover my powers and become even stronger to be able to take revenge," said the God of Destruction as he watched for your angel. Amunet spoke. "Yes, sir," said Anya, raising her hand. And soon a small sphere with one star went to her hand. Then Anya created a portal to the planet where they were previously, and then Big Moo and Amunet entered the portal. After returning to the planet where they were previously, Big Moo had gone to sleep to rest, and meanwhile, Amunet was analyzing the Dragon Ball, and after a few hours, Anya discovered where the second Dragon Ball was. Amunet spoke. "Master, I have found the location of the second Dragon Ball. We can go after her right now, since you have recovered some of your strength." He spoke to Anya to his master, who got up and went to Anya. Big Moo spoke. "Great, let's get that sphere right away. I can't wait to have my power back," said the God of Destruction to his Anya, who created a portal in which Big Moo and Amunet entered. Planet Earth. Currently on planet Earth, it was possible to see a portal being formed on top of a large lake, and from the portal Big Moo and Amunet came out. Amunet spoke. "The sphere is at the bottom of this lake, Master," Anya spoke while she looked at the lake. Big Moo, after hearing that, entered the lake and started looking for the sphere. After a few minutes, Big Moo had managed to find the sphere, but when he left the lake, Big Moo found Lord Beerus, who, when he saw him, hit a powerful punch to Big Moo's face, which went flying. But in the process, Big Moo ended up dropping the sphere, and before the sphere fell into the water again, Lord Beerus caught it. Big Moo thought, "Damn, the last sphere had to be on the planet where the God of Destruction of that universe was," thought the God of Destruction, while regaining balance. Lord Beerus spoke. "It seems that the great Big Moo, the God of Destruction, who ended up earning the title of Supreme God of Destruction by becoming so strong, to the point of being a threat to the Daishinkan itself and the angels, is not so dead as I thought he was," said the God of Destruction from the 7th universe while looking at Big Moo. Big Moo thought, "In my current conditions, I can't face this guy. I need to get out of here and recover soon, before entering into a fight with someone who has the power of a god," thought the God of Destruction, looking at Lord Beerus, who now held the Dragon Ball. Amunet said, "We would like to stay here to talk, but we have to go," said Anya. Appearing next to her God of Destruction, Big Moo, Anya then created a portal, and before Lord Beerus could do anything, Anya entered at the portal along with Big Moo. Lord Beerus said, "It looks like they ran away, but Big Moo came to planet Earth because of this sphere, so as long as I have this sphere, Big Moo will have to come to me. From now on, this sphere will stay with me 24 hours, said the God of Destruction while looking at the sphere in his hands. In the 7th universe, currently on the planet where Big Mun and Amunet met, it was possible to see a portal being formed, and Big Mun and Amunet came out of it. The God of Destruction was injured because of the blow he had received from Beerus when Big Mun went to the planet Earth in search of the other sphere of destruction. Big Mun said, "What a drug. Now that shit, who is the current God of Destruction of that universe, has the other Dragon Ball and he's stronger than me. And without that sphere I can't regain my old power, and without my power I will get revenge on those damn angels and gods of destruction," said the God of Destruction, very angry with what had happened on planet Earth a few minutes ago. Amunet spoke, "Really, sir, your current power is inferior to that of the current God of Destruction of the 7th universe, and if you tried to take his sphere, you could be killed," said the angel to her god of destruction, who he looked over with an annoyed expression on his face. Big Mun said, "Swear? I didn't even notice when I got punched by that guy, and I had to run away to not get killed again." "Then don't say anything, Aminet. If I had my true powers and my original strength, I could easily crush that guy, so he was lucky to face me in this state, because otherwise I would have killed him," said the god of destruction, very irritated with the fact that his angel had thrown it in his face that he had taken a beating from Beerus. Big Mun said, "And now, what should I do? Because trying to recover the dragon sphere that is with that god of destruction, it will be impossible with my current powers, and I guarantee that he will not let go of that sphere if he knows who I am and what I am capable of," said the god of destruction, frustrated, since thanks to Beerus his plans were ruined. Aminet spoke, "I already know. We're going after the Super Dragon Balls," said the angel while looking at Big Mun, who didn't understand very well. Big Mun said, "I just said that I won't be able to defeat the god of destruction of the 7th universe, that Beerus guy, and you tell me that we're supposed to get her?" said the god of destruction, not understanding why his angel said that to him. Aminet said, "I think you didn't understand, Master. I said the Super Dragon Spheres and not Dragon Spheres," said the angel to her master, who still didn't understand. Big Mun spoke, "Is there any difference between them? They are all Dragon Balls in the end, so they must be the same thing," said the confused god of destruction, because for him the Dragon Balls and the Super Dragon Balls were the same thing. Aminet said, "No, Master. The Dragon Balls we were looking for were 2 spheres, and they are so small that we can hold them in our hands easily, while the Super Dragon Balls are 7 spheres, and each of them is the size of a planet, and they are spread out by the 6th and 7th universe," the angel explained to her master, who was surprised to hear that there were 7 spheres the size of planets. Big Mun said, "7 spheres the size of planets spread across the 6th and 7th universe. How are we going to get them if they are the size of planets? And are they as useful as the Dragon Balls we were collecting?" asked the god of destruction to his angel. Aminet spoke, "Yes, Master. In reality these spheres are even more powerful, as they had been made by Zalama-sama thousands of years ago, and don't worry about their size. I have a plan," said the angel to her god of destruction. Big Mun said, "Okay, but what should I do in case I go to the 6th universe and I have to face the god of destruction of that universe? Because I'm still weak and I can't use my true power of destruction," said the god of destruction to his angel, who, after thinking a little, had an idea. Aminet spoke, "I already know. Let's use this item. It will allow you to use a little of your power for a short period of time, and if you use it too much, your body will start to be injured by your own power," said the angel, handing over an item for your master. Big Mun said, "This item reminds me of those Egyptian items from the 13th universe, but it was elegant on me, at least," said the god of destruction while looking at the item he had placed around his neck, and by doing so Big Mun felt much better. Big Mun spoke, "Incredible. I'm feeling my power in a more fluid way, and I'm not feeling tired just having that feeling," said the god of destruction, creating a sphere of destruction and shooting it at the sea of that planet. When the sphere hit the water, it was over, generating a great explosion, which caused a lot of water to fly out, thus forming an artificial rain. Aminet spoke, "It seems that the special item is working very well, Master. So what are we supposed to do now?" asked Anya to her master. Big Mun said, "Of course, let's go after the Super Dragon Balls." Aminet, can you track the Super Dragon Balls using this tiny sphere from planet Earth? They have the same principles, so their energy, if not the same, must be similar to that of the Super Dragon Balls, said the god of destruction while looking at his Anya. Aminet said, "Yes sir, using this sphere, I can track the Super Dragon Balls, and while I do that, I recommend that you gather as much power as possible and store it inside this item, because when you need it, you can release the energy contained within it," said Anya to her master. Big Mun then put himself in a lotus posture and began to gather his power, and while he did that, Anya began to look for the Super Dragon Spheres. Hours later, a few hours had passed, and Big Mun had managed to gather as much energy as possible in the item that was around his neck, and Aminet had managed to find some of the 7 Super Dragon Balls. Aminet said, "Master, I've already managed to find 4 of the 7 Super Dragon Spheres, and 3 of them are here in the 7th universe, and the other is in the 6th universe. But the other 3 spheres, I don't know where they are, and from what I felt they are well hidden." Anya spoke to her god of destruction, who soon left the lotus posture. Big Mun said, "Since it's like that, let's go to the 6th universe to get this dragon sphere, and then we'll go back to find the other 3 that are in that universe." After we do that, we go to the wise Zuno. He who is the holder of all knowledge should know where the other 3 Super Dragon Balls are, said the God of Destruction to his Anya. Amenet spoke. Yes, sir. Let's go in search of our first Super Dragon Ball, said Anya, creating a portal to the 6th universe. In the 6th universe, currently in the 6th universe, it was possible to see Champa along with his Anya Vados. Both were going to the place where the Super Dragon Balls of their universe were. When they arrived at the place, Vados and Champa saw a portal being formed in front of the Super Dragon Ball. Champa said, "Who are you?" spoke the God of Destruction to the unwanted guests in his universe. Vados spoke, "Mr. Champa, they are not normal people. One of them has the power of a God of Destruction and the other is an Anya," said Anya while looking at the unwanted guests, incredulous with what she was seeing and feeling. Big Mun said, "Amenet, take the Dragon Ball and let me take care of this guy. He may even have the power of a God of Destruction, but he doesn't seem to be as strong as Beerus," said the God of Destruction to his Anya, who did as he was ordered. A great golden and silver light began to come out from within Amenet's staff. This light began to cover the dragon sphere, and as the seconds passed, the sphere began to decrease little by little, and that made Champa and Vados be surprised, and at the same time frightened by what they were seeing. Champa, seeing that, tried to advance against Amenet, but Big Mun got in front and landed a charged punch on Champa's face, causing him to be thrown away. Big Mun, without hesitation, advanced against Champa, who, seeing that, shot several spheres of destruction against Big Mun, who managed to dodge all the attacks, and when both were face to face, Big Mun began to give several blows to Champa, who, for being above the weight, he couldn't move very well, much less dodge Big Mun's powerful attacks, which hit him with full force and extreme violence, and with each blow Champa received, he lost a little blood. Big Mun, seeing that Champa was too weak, stopped punching the 6th universe God of Destruction, and seeing that, Champa tried to hit Big Mun, who dodged the blow easily and continued to dodge Champa's blows, who was trying every way to land a hit on Big Mun. Big Mun said, "You are too weak, man. Looks like my Anya is already finished getting what I want, so I'll leave a message for the other gods of destruction," said the God of Destruction while looking at Champa. Big Mun made his cloths come out of his body and wrapped around Champa's body. Then Big Mun made his cloths get tighter and tighter, causing Champa's bones to be broken little by little. Vados' screams were echoing through the place. She couldn't do anything because she was an Anya and couldn't get into a fight like that. Amenet said, "Master, I have already finished my service, and it seems that you have already finished yours too, so we have to go soon," said Anya, showing the Super Dragon sphere in her hand. The sphere was much smaller than her original size. Big Mun said, "Right, we have work to do. And this guy is as weak as he is fat," said the God of Destruction, making his cloths unroll from his body. Then Big Mun kicked Champa's face, causing him to be thrown into the direction of Vados, who took his God of Destruction. Amenet then created a portal and entered, followed by Big Mun, who entered the portal, but not before looking at Champa and laughing at Champa's face, that the only thing he saw before passing out was Big Mun's arrogant smile that he entered the portal, which then closed.
In the 7th universe. Currently in the 7th universe, it was possible to see Big Mun together with Ahmanet, the God of Destruction, who was looking at the Super Dragon Balls that he and his angel had already collected until that moment. Big Mun said, "Well, with this new Dragon Ball, we have 4 of those 7 Super Dragon Balls. 3 of them were in the 7th universe and 1 of them was in the 6th universe. So now we only need 3 more Super Dragon Balls. We need to know in which universe they are," said the God of Destruction, holding the Super Dragon Sphere that had 3 stars inside. Ahmanet spoke. "How will we know the location of the other Super Dragon Balls and which universe they are in?" asked the angel to her master, who soon got up and placed her hand on her chin, thinking. Big Mun said, "Let's go to the wise Zuno. He must know the exact location of the Super Dragon Balls and in which universes they are, and mainly how to use them, because until now, we were only gathering them. But we need to know how to use them. The wise Zuno will be able to help us with that," said the God of Destruction, thinking of the only being who would have the ability to know the location of the Super Dragon Spheres precisely and how to use them. Ahmanet said, "Okay, we're going after the wise Zuno, but why are you sure he'll help you? After all, helping you would be the same thing as betraying the High Priest, and Zuno would be erased by Lord Zeno or punished by the High Priest if he did that," asked the angel while looking at her God of Destruction master, who ended up giving an arrogant smile. Big Mun said, "That's obvious, Ahmanet. The wise Zuno can only be punished by the High Priest if he is alive, and Zuno will only live if he tells me what I want to know. Because if he doesn't tell me, Let's say Zuno will discover the meaning of pain and hell that mortals fear so much, said the god of destruction, looking at his angel, who soon understood what his master meant. Amunet spoke. This reminds me of the old days, when you were stronger and wanted another god of destruction to do something for you. The Lord would threaten him or beat him until he accepted what you said, said the angel while looking at his master, who smiled when he remembered that time. Big Mun spoke. Good times. At that time I reigned over the gods of destruction, and even some angels were afraid of me because of my potential. I could never be able to use the power of Ultra Instinct if I trained a little more, said the god of destruction while remembering the glory days he had. Amunet spoke. Who knows? If you use the Super Dragon Balls to regain your power and become even stronger, you may not be able to use the power of Ultra Instinct. If you combine it with the powers of destruction, you will be able to defeat the angels. Well, I just hope that I'm not among the angels that will be defeated by the Lord. The angel spoke seriously to her master, who looked at her and remembered the time he had injured Ahmana during a training. Big Mun said, No, I would never kill you. Even after I hurt you and I was killed, you were still waiting for me, so I would never get rid of you, Amunet. And to this day I apologize for hurting you back then. That won't happen anymore, said the god of destruction, with a serious look at his angel, who ended up sighing and giving a smile. Amunet said, Sorry, I needed to test this, but now we better go to the wise Zuno and find out where the Super Dragon Balls are and how to use them, said the angel excitedly, right after Amunet created a portal to where the Zuno lived. Now at Sage Zuno's palace. In a place connected and at the same time separated from all universes, it was possible to see a great palace, and at its entrance a portal was formed, and from this portal Big Mun and Amunet came out. Big Mun said, It looks like it's bigger than when I came thousands of years ago, said the god of destruction while observing the place where he was, and saw that it was different from the time when Big Mun had gone there. Amunet said, It makes sense because it's been thousands of years since you came to visit the wise Zuno, said the angel while looking at her master. Leaving the changes that had happened since the last day Big Mun came to the palace, Big Mun and Amunet entered Sage Zuno's palace and went to the center where Zuno was sitting on a floating chair. Big Mun said, It's been a while, wise Zuno. You already know why we're here, so tell me what I want to know, spoke the god of destruction while looking at the wise Zuno, who when seeing the god of destruction felt fear in front of what had happened in the last encounters. The sage Zuno said, Yes, it's been a while since we've seen each other, Big Mun. After all, you've been dead all this time, and from what I understand you had a plan to come back to life, right, Big Mun? And you, Amunet, are on the side of this person who will kill all your brothers and sisters after getting the power of the Super Dragon Spears. And you don't feel any remorse about it, said the wise Zuno while looking at Big Mun and then to Amunet. Amunet spoke. Why should I care about them? After all, when Big Mun was killed, the other angels thought that I was the one training him to kill the angels, and me being the only angel alive, I just did my job to train and take care of my master, and for doing my job correctly, the other angels blamed me. So why should I care if my brothers and sisters are going to die or not, said the angel while looking at the sage Zuno, who couldn't say anything. After all, Amunet was right. Big Mun said, We didn't come here for you to judge my actions or Amunet's actions, so tell me where the other 3 Super Dragon Balls are and how we will use them. And you better not lie, Zuno, or I'll have to come back here, and you know I'm a master when it comes to torturing. So choose whether you're going to speak for good or for bad. I want you to choose the second option because I like it so much, said the god of destruction, tightening his fists, making the sage Zuno very scared. After all, he knew very well Big Mun's reputation and cruelty. The sage Zuno said, There are 2 more Dragon Ball Spears in the 6th universe and 1 in the 7th universe. They are at certain points in each universe, said the sage Zuno, creating a type of map and giving it to Amunet, who placed it inside his staff to make it easier to get to those Super Dragon Balls. The sage Zuno said, To use the Super Dragon Spheres, you'll need to have all 7 united, and when they are together, you'll have to say the following. Get out there, Dragon of the Gods, and grant my wish, please. Only you will have to speak using the language of the gods, and after doing that, the Super Shenlong will be invoked. And then you will only need to make your wish speaking in the language of the gods again, and that's it, spoke the sage Zuno to Big Mun and Amunet. Big Mun said, Great, that's all we needed to know. Now let's go, Amunet, we need to go after the Super Dragon Spheres that are missing, said the god of destruction, turning around to leave. Amunet spoke. Wait a little, master. Zuno Sage, I want to know what are the plans of the gods of destruction and the angels to defeat Master Big Mun and me. They must surely already know that we are in search of the Super Dragon Balls, and must have already created a plan to defeat us or kill us. "Then, Sage Zuno, tell us everything you know," said the angel while looking at the Sage Zuno, who was irritated to see that the angel had asked him a very important question. Zuno, having no options, ended up revealing all the current plans of the Gods of Destruction, especially the fact that they had organized themselves to protect the Super Dragon Balls of the 6th and 7th universe. Zuno told Amunet that Vermoth, the current God of Destruction of the 11th universe, is protecting one of the spheres that is in the 6th universe, and that Quaitella, the God of Destruction of the 4th universe, was protecting the last sphere that was in the 7th universe, along with Beerus, who had previously defeated Big Mun. Big Mun said, "This is indeed valuable information. Always thinking one step ahead, Amunet. Congratulations," said the God of Destruction while looking at his angel, who had a smile on her face. Amunet said, "Thank you, Master. Now we better go back and put together a plan to get the Super Dragon Spheres. And by the way, Wise Zuno, it would be smart of you not to tell anyone anything, don't you think?" He spoke to the angel with a smile on his face, something that made the Wise Zuno very afraid. The Sage Zuno thought Amunet, who was one of the purest and most innocent angels, ended up becoming that, and all because of that Big Mun demon, thought the Wise Zuno while looking at Big Mun and Amunet, who were leaving the place through a portal made by the angel. In the 6th universe. Currently in the 6th universe, it was possible to see all the Gods of Destruction along with their respective angels gathered on the planet of the God of Destruction of the 6th universe. All of them had been called by Vados and nobody knew why, but everyone went to the 6th universe at the request of Vados. Vermoth spoke. "Why were we all called by Vados? Champa doesn't want to have a competition of who eats more, like that time, right? Because if it is, I'll hit him for wasting my time," said the God of Destruction of the 11th universe while looking at the other Gods of Destruction. Hellas said, "These stupid competitions of you men, they're not at all elegant, and if you were to participate in something as ridiculous as that, you shouldn't have invited me. I don't want to spoil my beauty by participating in things like that," said the Goddess of Destruction from the 2nd universe as she looked at the other Gods of Destruction. Likir said, "You say that, Hellas, but when we don't call you to one of our competitions, you get irritated with us," said the God of Destruction of the 8th universe, while looking at Hellas, who looked at him mortally. Rumshi said, "Hey Beerus, why are you holding that sphere in your hand?" "This sphere looks like those spears that were given to the champion of the Tournament of Power," asked the God of Destruction of the 10th universe while looking at Beerus, who was holding a dragon sphere in one of his hands. Beerus said, "It's nothing that is of interest to you, Rumshi. This is something from my universe, and it is none of your business," said the God of Destruction from the 7th universe with a serious and cold look toward the other Gods of Destruction. Vados said, "Actually, I would say that the reason you're holding that Dragon Ball was to do with all the Gods of Destruction, and that's also why I called everyone here today," said the angel, arriving at the place with a sad look, something that surprised Whis, seeing his sister with that downcast expression. Whis said, "What do you mean, Vados? And why do you look like that?" he asked the angel, his sister, who just sighed heavily. Vados spoke. "You will see why I'm like this and what I mean by that. Everyone follow me, please," spoke the angel, entering the palace of the God of Destruction of the 6th universe. Vados kept silent, and soon all the Gods of Destruction and their angels arrived in a room. When they entered, everyone saw that that was Champa's room, but what shocked everyone was the fact that Champa was in her bed very injured. Beerus was the one who was the most shaken. After all, he was Champa's twin brother. Beerus spoke. "Who is responsible for leaving my brother like that, Vados?" asked the God of Destruction, releasing a little of his power because of his anger. Vados said, "When he came, I couldn't recognize him so well, but now I know who was responsible for nearly killing Mr. Champa. Big Mun, the God of Destruction who won the title of the strongest God of Destruction at his time. He should have been dead for several years, and seeing him again surprised me," said the angel, using her staff to create a hologram of Big Mun, leaving all the angels surprised, because the strongest God of Destruction has returned from the world of the dead. Whis said, "But why did Big Mun do this to Champa? He wouldn't come here just to hit Champa and then leave," asked the angel while looking at his sister. Vados said, "As I said, the reason Mr. Beerus was holding this dragon sphere, I would say that Big Mun tried to take it too, but was defeated by Beerus to ensure that Big Mun could not take the sphere. Mr. Beerus is holding this Dragon Ball. Am I right, Mr. Beerus?" asked the angel to the God of Destruction of the 7th universe, and thanks to the angel's statement, all the Gods of Destruction and angels looked at Beerus. Beerus said, "Yes, a few hours ago Big Mun was in the 7th universe. He ended up going to planet Earth, and as I was there, I ended up facing him. During our fight, Big Mun ended up dropping this Dragon Ball, and knowing that he was behind that sphere, I took it and I was holding it. The only way for him to take the sphere now would be defeating me, something that Big Mun would not be able to do, said the god of destruction while looking at Vados. Beerus said, but that doesn't mean that Big Mun would come to the 6th universe to defeat Champa. He did that to get revenge on me. Maybe it doesn't make sense since he doesn't know anything about this era we live in. He doesn't know that Champa is my twin brother. So the god of destruction, not understanding why Big Mun would have attacked his twin brother. Vados said, he didn't attack Mr. Champa because of you, Mr. Beerus. He attacked Champa because he tried to stop the angel who accompanied Big Mun from trying to steal the Super Dragon Ball Spear that we had gone after. And when Mr. Champa advanced against the angel, Big Mun entered the front and started to fight with Mr. Champa. In fact, I should say that it was a massacre and not a fight, because Mr. Champa did not manage to land a blow on him, spoke the angel, revealing to why Champa had faced Big Mun and been defeated in such a humiliating manner. Beerus said, the Super Dragon Balls? What does Big Mun want with them? And how did he manage to transport them between universes? Said the god of destruction while looking at his twin brother's angel. Vados said, I don't know why he took the Super Dragon Spheres, but I know that the reason must be the same as when he tried to take the Dragon Sphere that's in your hand. Mr. Beerus, they took the Super Dragon Sphere. The angel that was with Big Mun used some technique or skill to reduce the spear until the spear fit in their hand, said the angel that surprised everyone because none of them knew of a technique that could reduce a spear to the size of a planet. Vormoth said, but why is Champa alive? Not complaining, of course. But if Big Mun left Champa in that state, he could have killed him, and he didn't. And what I'm confused about is why Big Mun left Champa alive, said the 11th universe god of destruction while looking at Champa. Champa said, to make you afraid of him and the power he has. The god of destruction spoke in a slow way because of the pain he was feeling. Vados spoke, Mr. Champa, you should be quiet and recover properly. You're still not in a position to speak or do anything. The angel spoke seriously to her god of destruction. Vormoth said, I see. He wanted to use Champa as an example to make us afraid of his power. But we have to be realistic. Champa is not as strong as the rest of us. And being overweight, that must have made him weak, said the god of destruction of the 11th universe, exposing a great truth to all. Champa said, you're right, Vormoth, and that's why I have to ask that you protect the other 2 Super Dragon Balls that are in the 6th universe. If the guy takes all 7, he can make some orders, and it'll make us lose everything. And with that, Big Mun will kill us all, said the god of destruction of the 6th universe, slowly, for causing of pain in his body. Jin spoke, then we will have to protect the Super Dragon Balls scattered across the 6th and 7th universes. This will take a lot of work, but we have to do it. If not, all of us gods of destruction will be killed by Big Mun, and if you think about it, all the angels are in danger too. Since at the time Big Mun lived, he became so strong that he was able to hurt his angel during training, said the god of destruction of the 12th universe, while looking at everyone present. Vormoth spoke. Since that's the way it is, each of us will take a kind of rotation to protect the Super Dragon Balls, and each rotation will last for a week. Let me protect the Super Dragon Balls during this week. That way I won't feel so bad for calling Champa weak and mocking him for being overweight, said the god of destruction of the 11th universe while looking at the other gods of destruction. Likir said, right, but we have to protect the Super Dragon Balls from the 7th universe. And we must do it now, because if Big Mun is after the Super Dragon Balls, I would say that we have to go soon, said the god of destruction of the 8th universe. Quaitella said, since it's like that, I'll protect one of the Super Dragon Spheres that is in the 7th universe. Also because Beerus is not capable of doing this alone, said the god of destruction of the 4th universe while looking at Beerus and laughing at his face. Beerus said, I don't like Quaitella, but he's right. We need to defend the Super Dragon Spheres to stop Big Mun's plans. Now let's go because he must already be going after one of the spheres, said the god of destruction of the 7th universe, looking at all his fellow gods of destruction who just nodded in agreement. Then everyone went to their respective universes except for Vormoth, who stayed in the 6th universe, and Quaitella, who went to Universe 7 to protect one of the Dragon Balls. In the 7th universe. Currently on the planet that Big Mun had stolen to be his temporary base of operations, Big Mun and Amanet were together thinking of a plan to steal the other Super Dragon Balls that were being protected by the gods of destruction. Big Mun spoke. What should we do to get the Super Dragon Balls? I could face the gods of destruction, but that would be something very stupid of me, and I would probably be killed, so that's out of the question. said the god of destruction as he walked from one side to the other, thinking about how to get through Vermoth and take the orb he was protecting. Amunet spoke. Master, are you still able to transform yourself into other people, as you used to do in the past? Asked the angel to her god of destruction, who stopped pacing and looked at her. Big Mun spoke. If I still have the ability to transform into other people, yes, I can still use this ability of mine. But it's been a while since I've used it, so it won't last as long as it did back then, said the god of destruction while looking at his angel. Amunet said, well, if you still manage to transform yourself into someone else, then you'll just have to transform yourself into the angel of the god of destruction, who is protecting one of the spheres of the 6th universe. If I remember correctly, his name is Vermoth, and he is the god of destruction of the 11th universe, and his angel is Margarita. You can train using her appearance. Then after you've mastered the transformation, you go to the 6th universe and deceive the god of destruction with the appearance of his angel. With that, you'll be able to get the rest of the Super Dragon Balls that are in the 6th universe. Spoke the angel, revealing her plan to get the Super Dragon Balls that were still in the 6th universe. Big Mun said, it's a good plan, using Margarita's appearance. I can tell that something bad is happening in the 11th universe, and with that Vermoth will have to go back to the 11th universe. And when he's gone, I can use his appearance to deceive Champa and Vados, and that way I can get the spheres without the need to fight, and thus attract the attention of the other gods of destruction in the process, said the god of destruction, understanding his angel's plan. Amunet said, great. Now you better train a little before going to the 6th universe. And this is what Margarita looks like, said the angel, creating a hologram of the angel of the 11th universe, so that Big Mun could train his ability. Big Mun said, right. I'm going to train this skill of mine that allows me to transform into other people. And when I think I'm ready, I'm going to the 6th universe to deceive Vermoth and get the Super Dragon Balls, said the god of destruction, looking at his angel. Then Big Mun started to train his transformation skill. Hours later. A few hours had passed since the moment Big Mun had started his training to be able to use his transformation ability. After training, the god of destruction was managing to use his abilities correctly and was already managing to transform perfectly into Margarita. Big Mun said, I think I'm ready to go to the 6th universe, but how am I going to deceive Vermoth without having the angel staff or their powers? Asked the god of destruction while looking at his angel. Amunet said, take my staff. About the powers of an angel, do not worry. That I will hide inside my staff, and that way I can use my powers. That way Vermoth will not suspect that you are not the Margarita of truth, said the angel, throwing her stuff to Big Mun, who caught it still in the air. Big Mun said, if you say so, then I will believe it. Now let's go to the 6th universe to get the rest of the Super Dragon Spheres, and then we'll think about how to get the last sphere that is in the 7th universe, said the god of destruction while looking at his angel. Big Mun concentrated and his body began to glow in a golden color. Then the light disappeared and there was Big Mun, with the appearance of Margarita. Then Amunet transformed into particles of light and entered his angel staff. And after doing that, Big Mun, who had transformed into Margarita, hit his staff on the ground twice, and a pillar of energy surrounded his body, and then he disappeared from that place. In the 6th universe. Currently in the 6th universe, it was possible to see Vermoth sitting on one of the Super Dragon Balls present in the 6th universe, while looking around and seeing the vastness of the universe he was in. Vermoth spoke. Seriously, I volunteer to guard one of the Super Dragon Balls present in Universe 6, because of things I said earlier. If I'd known it would be so boring, I wouldn't have opened my mouth. I would like to know how my universe is currently. I wonder if Topo is doing a good job in my absence. The god of destruction spoke to himself as he looked around and saw the vastness of the 6th universe. The false Margarita spoke. Unfortunately, no, Mr. Vermoth, said the angel, appearing at the scene, calling the attention of the god of destruction. Vermoth said, Margarita, what are you doing here? And what do you mean by that? Asked the god of destruction of the 11th universe as he looked at the angel. The false Margarita said, I came after you because chaos settled in the 11th universe, and this chaos must have been created by Big Mun, who, when he found out that you were in the 6th universe, he went to the 11th universe. Apparently there's something in our universe that Big Mun wants, said the angel while looking at the god of destruction, who upon hearing such words became very angry. Vermoth spoke. Damn, that bastard dares attack my universe in my absence. I must return to my universe soon. But I can't leave this Super Dragon Ball unprotected, said the god of destruction of the 11th universe, very irritated with what he had heard. The false Margarita said, I have an idea, Mr. Vermont. I'll use my powers to send you to the 11th universe, and in the meantime I will warn Mr. Champa about what is happening and why you had to return to the 11th universe to protect him, said the angel while looking at the god of destruction. Vermont said, all right, I trust you, Margarita. Send me to the 11th universe, and then you tell Champa and Vados about what happened in my universe, said the god of destruction, accepting the angel's suggestion. The false Margarita spoke. Yes, sir, said the angel, creating a portal. Then Vermont entered the portal that closed afterwards. After Vermont entered the portal, the false Margarita made his body glow, and then Big Mun returned to his original appearance. Then the staff began to glow. A light came out of the staff, and from that light Amunet appeared. Amunet said, It seems that our plan worked, Master. Now you will only need to transform into Vermont to deceive Champa and Vados, said the angel while looking at the god of destruction. Big Mun said, Yes, I'm going to use Vermont's appearance to deceive those two, and I'm going to take the opportunity to convince Champa to leave the Super Dragon Balls with me. Saying that, Margarita discovered how to use the technique of hers and make the Super Dragon Ball get smaller. And I'll say she taught me, said the god of destruction while looking at his angel. Amunet said, It's a good plan, Master. Now you better go. I'll be waiting for your call, but first I have to use that technique in that sphere, said the angel, using the same technique she had used before. Amunet started to shrink the Super Dragon Sphere until the sphere was the size that would fit in her hand, and the angel threw the Dragon Sphere to Big Mun, who caught it and put it in his pocket. Big Mun's body started to glow, and after a few seconds the light disappeared, and Big Mun had the appearance of Vermont. After that happened, the god of destruction rushed to the planet of the god of destruction of that universe. Planet of the god of destruction. It didn't take long for Big Mun, who was transformed into Vermont, to arrive at the planet of the god of destruction, and upon arriving at that place, he went straight to where Champa was. Champa was still recovering from the battle against Big Mun. Champa said, Vermont, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be protecting the Super Dragon Ball? Asked the god of destruction while looking at Vermont. The false Vermont said, I'm doing this. I have her right here with me, said the god of destruction, removing the Super Dragon Ball from his pocket, surprising Champa. Champa said, How did you make the Super Dragon Sphere so small? Asked the god of destruction to his co-worker. The false Vermont said, After what you said about the angel diminishing the Super Dragon Ball, Margarita did some research and managed to find the technique that Big Mun's angel used to leave the Super Dragon Ball in the state, and she ended up teaching me. So I came to ask you to let me take and keep the other Super Dragon Balls that are in the 6th universe. That way Big Mun won't be able to get them, said the god of destruction while looking at Champa. Champa said, That's right. Your plan will be useful, and as you are very strong, Big Mun will not be able to take the Super Dragon Balls from you, said the god of destruction to Vermont. The false Vermont says, Right, I'm already going after the other Super Dragon Balls to make it smaller. That way Big Mun won't be able to get the Super Dragon Balls, said the god of destruction, leaving the place, flying towards the last Super Dragon Ball, which was in Universe 6, now in the 6th universe. Currently in the 6th universe, it was possible to see Big Mun using his cloning ability, which he was using to transform into Vermont and go straight to the place where the Super Dragon Ball was located in the 6th universe. It didn't take long for the god of destruction Big Mun to arrive at the place where the last Super Dragon Ball was, but when he got there, the fake Vermont ended up taking a fright when he saw that the Super Dragon Ball was not unprotected, but protected by the most strongest warriors of the 6th universe. This fake Vermont thought, Okay, I wasn't expecting this. I thought this sphere would be unprotected, but in reality it's being protected by a group of warriors, and some of them even have interesting power levels. Big Mun thought as he reached the Super Dragon Ball and saw that there were several warriors in the place with interesting power levels in the opinion of the god of destruction. Kaba spoke. Mr. Vermont, what are you doing here? I thought you were protecting the other Super Dragon Balls, asked the confused Saiyan while looking at the fake Vermont. The false Vermont spoke. I am protecting the Super Dragon Ball in reality. My angel Margarita, she discovered the technique that Big Mun had used to make the Super Dragon Ball spheres become smaller. She taught me how to use this power. I can make these two spheres smaller and leave with them, so Big Mun doesn't have a chance of stealing these. They'll be with me, and that way he will not be able to fulfill his wish, whatever his wish is, explained the fake Vermont while removing the Super Dragon Ball from his pocket and showing it to everyone that was present. Kaba spoke. That makes sense. If a god of destruction with great power like you is protecting the Super Dragon Balls, they will be safe. said the Saiyan while looking at the fake Vermont without suspecting anything. The false Vermont said, "Right. So you can get out of my way and let me shrink and keep this Super Dragon Ball," said the God of Destruction, soon going closer to the Super Dragon Ball. Only when the God of Destruction got close to the Super Spear, he had to dodge a blow, which was done by Hit. But the God of Destruction managed to dodge it, and moving away from the Super Dragon Spear. Caulifla said, "Hey Hit, what did you do that for? He's the 11th Universe's God of Destruction, so why in the hell would you do that?" Caulifla asked while looking at the most feared assassin in the 6th Universe. Hit said, "Sorry, but this one is not the real God of Destruction of the 11th Universe. This guy is a fake. And I bet he must be the God of Destruction that ended up beating Champa and almost killing him," he said while looking at Vermont. Kale said, "What do you mean? He is Vermont, the God of Destruction of the 11th Universe, and not Big Mun that all the Gods of Destruction are looking for," said the Saiyan while looking at the killer. Hit said, "I'm a trained assassin, and I've killed many people over the years, and during that time I ended up finding people with the ability to change appearances. So I ended up creating a skill that helped me identify my targets. And I remember it perfectly, the energy that Vermont has, and that guy there in front of us is not Vermont," said the assassin, putting himself in a combat posture while looking at the God of Destruction, who soon began to laugh out loud. The false Vermont spoke, "Seriously, man, I never thought I would end up meeting someone who would be able to discover my transformation ability," said the God of Destruction, Big Mun, soon making his body glow and his original appearance return to normal. Big Mun said, "Now that I'm in my original form, I'm going to finish you off, and I'm going to get the Super Dragon Ball before the original Vermont comes back and tries to kill me. After all, I'm not strong enough to kill him, at least not yet," Big Mun said while looking at the warriors of that place, who put themselves in combat posture. Hit said, "Don't let him get close to the Super Dragon Ball, and fight with all your might right from the start," said the killer to his group, as soon everyone started releasing large amounts of energy, and all the Saiyans present transformed to their strongest forms. Soon, all together they advanced against the God of Destruction. Big Mun used his clothes to create some clones of himself, that soon advanced against the warriors in that place. Big Mun lunged at Hit as he appeared to be the strongest and most experienced of the group. Big Mun and Hit, when they were close to each other, they started a melee battle, where Big Mun was taking the advantage, and soon the God of Destruction managed to give a sequence of blows to the assassin that, even using the temporal jump, could not overcome the speed of the God of Destruction that landed powerful blows on the Hit's assassin's body. Hit used his time jump repeatedly and tried to hit several blows on the God of Destruction, and Big Mun used his body clots to defend himself from the assassin's attacks, and some of his blows were repelled, making the assassin receive his own blow, only with twice the strength. Big Mun soon used his speed and used his cloth to hold one of Hit's arms, and using his strength he turned Hit's body and threw the killer away. And then the God of Destruction began to hit several blows around of the killer, who couldn't dodge the blows. Then he tied Hit with his cloth, and then he did the same thing with all the other warriors and united them with his cloth. Big Mun spoke, "You were fun, but you're not strong enough to defeat me," said the God of Destruction as he looked at the warriors who were trapped in their body clots. Big Mun said, "I will let you live, but I want you to tell Champa and the other Gods of Destruction that I let you live to tell the gods that I will hunt each one of them, and the angels will also be mine. So tell them to be afraid, because I'm going to kill every one of them. Now for Champa, I want you to say that I'm going to kill him, and this time I won't be as merciful as before," said the God of Destruction, Big Mun, with a big smile on his face. Soon Big Mun, using one of his hands, created a large sphere of Hakai, but it was not with the energy of destruction, but only made with crushed energy, and that way the warriors could stay alive with that last attack by Big Mun. Big Mun spoke, "I ask all of you not to die," said the God of Destruction, soon throwing the spear of Hakai at the warriors, who screamed in pain when they felt the attack of the God of Destruction. Aminet spoke, "It seems that the battle is over, Master, even though I thought you would have done it faster normally," spoke the angel, soon leaving his staff and assuming a physical form. Big Mun said, "I would normally have defeated them with one attack, or would prolong the fight, but I remember that I'm not currently at my full power, so I managed to have some fun," said the God of Destruction while scratching the back of his neck, and looked at his angel, who just gave a smile. Aminet spoke, "It's good to know that you know your current situation of weakness, but that will change soon after we gather all 7 Dragon Balls and make the wish to Super Shenron, and with that his original power will return. And in the future, we will be able to bring back the 13 universe back to life, and you could return to live in it, said the angel, remembering her old universe, where she ruled with Big Mun. Big Mun said, I also miss our universe a little bit, but don't worry. When all this is over, we'll go back to live in the 13th universe, and everything will go back to how it was thousands of years ago, spoke the god of destruction while looking at his angel. Big Mun said, but for that, I have to recover my true strength, and using it, I will defeat all the gods and angels that get in my way. Amunet, make this super dragon spear get smaller, and after that we'll get out of here soon. I feel that they must have already discovered what I've done, and that I deceived Champa and Vermoth, said the god of destruction while looking at his angel, who agreed. Amunet said, yes sir, I'll make it quick so we can get out of here and go to the last Super Dragon Ball, said the angel excitedly, and soon she started using her technique to make the Super Dragon Ball smaller and fit in her hand. Big Mun said, great, now let's go. We still have to get one more Super Dragon Ball, and with it my wish will be fulfilled, and I can return to my glory days as the strongest god of destruction, said the god of destruction while looking at his angel, who had one of the Super Dragon Balls in her hand. Amunet said, Master, it's better we go, or if we don't have unwanted and inconvenient guests. He spoke to the angel, soon creating a portal, that soon the god of destruction with the angel entered, and then the portal closed, in the 7th universe. Currently in the 7th universe, more precisely on the planet where Big Mun had made a temporary base of operations, it was possible to see the ancient god of destruction of the 13th universe, along with his angel Amunet. Both were observing the Super Dragon Spheres they had at that moment. Big Mun said, we have 6 of the 7 Super Dragon Spheres. Now only one of them is missing, which is located in the 7th universe. This sphere is being protected by 2 gods of destruction, Quaitella, the god of destruction of the 4th universe, and Beerus himself, the god of destruction of the 7th universe, said the god of destruction Big Mun while looking at the current Super Dragon Balls they had until that moment. Big Mun said, there are 2 gods of destruction that are protecting this last Super Dragon Ball, and facing them will not be easy. And the worst part is the fact that Beerus is very powerful, and Quaitella, I can't say if he is strong. After all, I never fought him, but thanks to the information you gave me, Amunet, I know that he is stronger than Champa, and just knowing that I get a little worried. Even Champa being a weak god of destruction, he's still a god of destruction, said the god of destruction Big Mun while scratching the back of his head, bothered by not knowing exactly Quaitella's strength, and worried about the fact that he would have to face 2 gods of destruction in his quest for the 7th Super Dragon Ball. Amunet spoke. That is true. The strength you have now won't be able to defeat Beerus alone. Even more so now that he has the help of another god of destruction who must have at least a similar strength to him. Because as far as I know, Beerus is one of the strongest gods of destruction, if not the strongest among the gods of destruction of this time we are in, said the angel while looking at her master, who ended up laughing. Big Mun said, if Beerus is the strongest god of destruction of this era, it will be a shame, because in my time, the weakest of the gods of destruction would be able to go head-to-head with Beerus one-on-one. So Beerus would have the strength, the weakest among the gods of destruction in my time. And that's sad, knowing that the gods of destruction have become so weak like this, said the god of destruction while remembering the time when the gods of destruction were much stronger than the current ones. Amunet spoke. At that time, the gods of destruction competed to see who would be the strongest, not using physical strength, but the aura of destruction that reflected the strength of a god of destruction. And besides, at that time, the gods of destruction lived facing threats coming from other worlds, and this forced them to become stronger. That must be why the gods of destruction are so weak. They should increase the mortal level of their universes, said the angel while sighing, because, like her master, she thought how weak the current gods of destruction were compared to the old gods of destruction. Big Mun said, yes, I agree with you, but I still don't know how I'm going to get the last Super Dragon Ball. After all, they may not be as strong as the old gods of destruction, but I also don't have my old strength anymore, and I'm no longer the strongest god of destruction among the gods. So the big question is, how am I going to get that last Super Dragon Ball? Asked the god of destruction while looking at the other Super Dragon Balls. Amunet said, well, I have an idea. If the current god of destruction of the 4th universe is in the 7th universe, then the 4th universe is unprotected. So you could invade that universe, forcing Quaitella to return to your universe. You could do something similar with Beerus, but instead of attacking his universe, you could invade the realm of the Supreme Lord Kaio and threaten him. causing Beerus to leave close to the Super Dragon Ball, said the angel, talking to Big Mun about her idea about how they would get the last Super Dragon Ball, but this idea was not liked by the God of Destruction very much. Big Mun said, Amunet, you know me like no one else, and you know that I always liked a good fight, and I always hated the easy ways of life. Killing the Supreme Kai would be the same as killing Beerus, without even having to face him, and that's not something I want to do. If I kill him, it'll have to be in a glorious combat, which will make the entire universe collapse, and not killing the Supreme Kaio, Lord of Beerus, said the God of Destruction, with great seriousness in his tone of voice. Amunet said, I know that, Master, and because of that I suggested that you use the Supreme Kai as a hostage, and in the meantime, I could go get the Super Dragon Balls, and that way we could get the Super Dragon Balls without a battle itself, said the angel, explaining her plan to get the Super Dragon Balls. Big Mun spoke, Now yes, it's a plan. I agree with it. It's time to create a small army to invade the fourth universe, said the God of Destruction, Big Mun, concentrating and releasing his power around that place, and soon an army made of the elements of that place together with its energy of destruction was formed. Big Mun said, Amunet, send these guys to the fourth universe, and send me to the planet of Lord Kaio of the seventh universe. It's time to get that last Super Dragon Sphere. With that, I will have my wish fulfilled, and so I will return to be the strongest God of Destruction, said the God of Destruction while looking at his angel. Amunet spoke, Yes, sir, Master, said the angel, creating several portals for the soldiers newly created by Big Mun to enter. Big Mun said, Amunet, now create a portal for me to take me to the planet of Lord Kaio of the seventh universe. And by the way, when I enter the portal, I want you to go to where the Super Dragon Ball is and be ready, because when both gods of destruction leave the place, you take the Super Dragon Ball, and then you create a portal so that I can leave Universe 7, said the God of Destruction while looking at his angel. Amunet spoke, Yes, sir, spoke the angel, creating a portal for the God of Destruction that soon entered, and after a moment, the portal closed. Now in the seventh universe. Currently in the seventh universe, more precisely on the planet of Lord Kaio, it was possible to see the Supreme Lord Kaio of the seventh universe sitting down drinking some tea. But soon Kaio was surprised when he felt a large amount of energy of destruction coming from his back. It scared him. Big Mun said, So you are the Supreme Kai of the seventh universe, and the one who is connected to the life of Beerus, the God of Destruction of this universe, right? Asked the God of Destruction in a sarcastic way while looking at the Supreme Kai. Supreme Kai said, Who are you? What did you come here for? Said the Supreme Lord Kaio while looking at the God of Destruction. Big Mun said, Who am I? I am the ancient God of Destruction of the 13th universe, and I came here to kill Beerus. As I know, your life is tied to his. I will kill you, unless you call him now. Otherwise, I will have to kill you. And that will be faster than I would like, said the God of Destruction with a psychotic smile on his face. The Supreme Kai thought, Big Mun, this guy is still alive, but damn it, thought the Supreme Kai, frightened by the presence of the ancient God of Destruction that had returned from the dead and was now causing chaos among the gods of destruction. It didn't take long for the Supreme Kai to urgently call Beerus to his universe, and after a few minutes, Beerus and Whis appeared at a pillar of energy on Supreme Kai's planet, and when they got there, Whis and Beerus could see Big Mun holding the back of Supreme Kai's neck. In Big Mun's hand was a certain amount of destruction energy, ready to kill the Supreme Kai at any moment. Big Mun said, Well, if it isn't the great Beerus, the God of Destruction of the seventh universe. How has your life been up to this point, my dear fellow God of Destruction? Asked the God of Destruction, Big Mun, in an ironic tone that looked at Beerus, who was furious with him. Beerus said, Until this moment she's fine. Different from my brother's life, that you almost killed recently, said the God of Destruction, looking at Big Mun, who ended up being surprised. Big Mun said, So that fat man was really his brother. When I looked at him, I noticed the resemblance, but I ended up putting it aside when I saw how weak he was. The strength that his brother possesses is too ridiculous for him to be called a God of Destruction, said the God of Destruction while he looked at Beerus, who was irritated. Big Mun said, One false step and I'll kill your Supreme Kai, and I'll kill you in the process, all right? Said the God of Destruction, looking at Beerus. Beerus said, You're not going to do that. Whis did some research on you and we found out that you hated winning fights the easy way. You always stuck for a good fight, so I know you're not going to kill Kaio, said the God of Destruction with a serious face to Big Mun, who ended up smiling broadly. Big Mun said, Congratulations, you studied a little about me. But you forgot that I'm not only a good fighter, I'm also a good deceiver. In fact, I hope that Quitella manages to get to his universe quickly. If not, he will be destroyed by my servants, said the god of destruction, with a smile on his face, something that made Whis and Beerus shocked. At the same time, Whis used his staff to communicate with the angel responsible for the fourth universe. Beerus said, "Hey Whis, what's going on with the fourth universe?" said the god of destruction, without understanding anything at the moment. Whis said, "The fourth universe is being attacked by creatures made of sand, water, and wood. These creatures have the energy of destruction, the same as Big Mun has," said the angel, looking at Big Mun, who was smiling. Big Mun said, "This conversation is very good, but it's time for me to leave. And by the way, Beerus, in our next meeting, I guarantee you that you will be defeated or killed, in the worst-case scenario. So until our next meeting, my dear," said the god of destruction, entering a portal that appeared on his back. On Universe 7, the Supreme Kai's planet. Currently on King Kai's planet, it was possible to see Beerus furious with the words Big Mun after the sudden visit to Universe 7. Beerus said, "Whis, the Super Dragon Ball that Quitella and I were protecting, is with Big Mun now, isn't it?" asked the god of destruction to his angel, even though he was almost sure that Big Mun had taken the Super Dragon Ball that he and Quitella were protecting. Whis said, "Unfortunately, yes, Mr. Beerus. We are all deceived by Big Mun. While you were here, Quitella was forced to return to his universe so that he would not be destroyed. And with that, the Super Dragon Ball ended up being unprotected, and with the Amunet, the angel of Big Mun, who stole the last Dragon Ball, Big Mun had made a very smart plan. While he was talking to you, Amunet was there alone stealing the last Dragon Ball spear." "What the hell?" spoke the angel, Whis, while he made a hologram with his staff and showed everything that had happened with the Super Dragon Sphere. Beerus said, "Damn," shouted the god of destruction, releasing some of his energy of destruction around the place, causing some cracks to appear on the ground, something that scared the Supreme Kai. The Supreme Kai said, "There's no need to stay that way, Mr. Beerus. He may have taken the last Super Dragon Ball from the 7th universe, but he still doesn't have the one that's in the 6th universe. You can go there and help your brother protect him, and so Big Mun won't be able to complete his goal," said the Supreme Kai of the 7th universe to the other god of destruction, who paid close attention to his words. Beerus said, "It's true. I can go to the 6th universe and protect the last Super Dragon Ball," said the god of destruction with one hand on his chin, as he looked at the Supreme Kai and then looked at his angel. Whis said, "That's true, Mr. Beerus, but when you go to the 6th universe, the 7th universe will be without protection. After all, Big Mun could do the same thing he did to the 4th universe, forcing you to return to protect your universe," said the angel while looking at the god of destruction. Beerus said, "That's not really a problem. I know that Big Mun could create the army using his skills and attack the 7th universe, and because of that, you're going to send Goku and the rest of his friends to prepare for a possible war. And not only Goku, but also Broly, Frieza, and even that granola guy will help us now. Warn them all and say that if they don't fight, the whole universe will be destroyed. And that way even that shit Frieza will die if he stays still," said the god of destruction while looking at his angel Whis, while clenching his fists. The Supreme Kai said, "This is a good idea. After all, some of these warriors can reach the power level of a god of destruction, and even though I don't like Frieza, he will be useful to keep the universe safe. This time," said the Supreme Kai while looking at Beerus and Whis. Beerus said, "I don't like Frieza, and I don't trust Broly and that granola guy, but they are the strongest, and to face beings that have the power of a god of destruction, I'll have to trust them a little," said the god of destruction while looking up to the Supreme Kai of his universe. Supreme Kai said, "Well, it's better to join forces with Frieza than have the universe destroyed. And that's for sure," said the Supreme Kai while looking at the god of destruction. Whis said, "I think it will be no longer necessary to go to the 6th universe, Mr. Beerus," said the angel to the god of destruction while looking at his staff and seeing that his sister Vados had sent him a message. The Supreme Kaio said, "What do you mean by that, Mr. Whis? Have other gods of destruction already gone to the 6th universe to protect the Super Dragon Balls?" asked the Supreme Kai while looking confused at the angel. Whis said, "Quite the contrary. In reality, it will not take any god of destruction to protect the Super Dragon Ball that is in the 6th universe," said the angel in a serious tone while looking at the god of destruction and the Supreme Lord Kaio, who were confused by that. Beerus said, "Enough of so much suspense, Whis. Will you tell us what's going on and be as brief as possible?" spoke the god of destruction, already irritated by the suspense that his angel was bringing. Whis said, The Super Dragon Balls that were in the 6th universe cannot be protected because they are no longer in the 6th universe, said the angel while looking at the God of Destruction, and the Supreme Kai, who ended up widening his eyes. The Supreme Kai said, "So if the Super Dragon Balls are no longer in the 6th universe, that means that they are with Big Mun. And if he already has all the Super Dragon Balls that were in the 6th universe, and now he has this one, that he has to steal from us almost now, so that means," said the Supreme Kai, being interrupted by the God of Destruction. Beerus said this means he finally managed to get all 7 Super Dragon Balls, and with that he will be able to make the wish. Beerus said in an angry tone while thinking about what Big Mun would wish for, the Super Dragon Balls. Supreme Kai spoke. "So Big Mun can wish Super Shenron the death of all the gods of destruction or something worse than that?" said the Supreme Kai in an already weaker tone in his voice, as if he had already accepted his destiny. Beerus said no, he will not wish for the death of any being. He is too proud. He will wish for the death of no one. He will wish for something that makes him stronger to be able to defeat and kill us all. So in that matter, we don't need to worry. But I still don't know what his wish would be, so we must find a way to prevent his wish. Beerus spoke, returning to his serious and not furious expression from seconds ago. Beerus said, "Whis, tell me that you can track the location where the Super Dragon Balls are located. If you don't get it, we're very screwed. After all, that guy is very unpredictable," said the God of Destruction, while looking at Whis, his angel, who just sighed. Whis said, "Unfortunately, no, Mr. Beerus. I already tried to track the Super Dragon Balls that Big Mun had before, but I couldn't. I think Aminet must have found a way to hide the energy of the Super Dragon Balls," said the angel while looking at the God of Destruction, who ended up punching a tree near him, knocking it down in the process. Beerus said, "Damn. Whis, send word to all the gods of destruction that Big Mun now has all the Super Dragon Balls. So tell every one of them to get ready, because we don't know what he's going to want. But I know none of us are going to like this one bit." Whis said, "Yes, sir," said the angel, soon sending a warning message to all the angels of the other 12 universes. Now at Big Mun's base. Currently on the planet where Big Mun had stolen to be his base, it was possible to see the God of Destruction was now looking at all the Super Dragon Balls that he had, which were now all 7. Big Mun said, "Now that I have all 7 Super Dragon Balls, and with that I can make my wish, but there is one thing I need to do before invoking the dragon," said the God of Destruction while looking at his angel, who thought for a while before answering his master. Aminet said, "No, master. Now we need to invoke the Super Shenron. Actually, let me invoke him, because you were never very good at speaking in the language of the gods." Big Mun said, "You're right. Let's do this soon," said the God of Destruction, giving the Super Dragon Balls to his angel. After receiving the Super Dragon Balls, Aminet started to float, and then she started speaking in the language of the gods to summon Super Shenron, and soon the Super Dragon Balls started to glow, and suddenly a big golden dragon came out of the Super Dragon Balls. The dragon, Super Shenron, who became much smaller than normal as they decreased the spheres, and with that Shenron was also decreased, but he was still the biggest dragon of them all. Big Mun said, "My wish is to have all my strength and abilities back. I want to regain all my strength and abilities that I had in my prime, and moreover, I want to have a much greater potential to evolve in the point to overcome the Daishinkan itself." Big Mun while looking at Super Shenron. When Aminet heard her master's wish, she repeated to the Super Shenron in the language of the gods. And when she finally making the wish, of Super Shenron's red eyes shone more brightly, and soon after Big Mun ended up falling to the ground, while his energy from destruction grew at an absurd speed, and soon a big explosion ended up happening. And from the center, Big Mun emerged with all his original power. Big Mun spoke. "Finally, I finally got my power back," said the God of Destruction with a wide smile on his face, as he released a large amount of destruction energy and didn't feel any pain. In the 7th universe. Currently in the 7th universe, more precisely on planet Earth, it was possible to see Beerus and Whis in the Capsule Corporation, along with Goku and his friends, the Z Warriors. Besides them, were there two, Brawly, Frieza, and Granola. All these warriors had been called by Whis at the behest of Beerus, and besides the warriors there were some non-combatants like Bulma, Chi-Chi, and Chi-Lai. All those present were wanting to know why they had been called to that place, especially Frieza, who was getting irritated by the delay of Beerus and Whis, who until now had not said why they had been called. Frieza thought, "The delay is already making me angry. They brought me to this planet, and I can't even leave this planet because of Beerus. I can't leave, and they haven't said anything yet. It just makes me angrier." The worst thing is not even staying on this planet, but being in the presence of these damn Saiyans. And even this guy Granola and Brawly are here. It makes me want to know even why more I'm here, thought the Emperor as he looked around and saw some beings with powers at the same level as his or even superior, like Brawly, Granola, and even Gohan, who was talking to his wife and his mother, who was with his daughter, Pan, in her arms. Frieza thought, who knew that Son Gohan, that scared boy, who had been defeated easily in all our encounters, now has a power similar to mine, and the Saiyan Brawly and even Granola, who apparently seem to be stronger too. I wonder how strong Son Goku and Vegeta are now, asked the Emperor while looking at his two main enemies, Goku and Vegeta. Goku was talking to Vegeta and Bulma. Goku spoke. I would like to know why we are gathered here. I was sleeping and suddenly Whis appeared and brought me here saying it was something urgent. But so far, they haven't said anything. Hey Bulma, do you know something? Asked the Saiyan while looking at his childhood friend and wife of his Saiyan's rival. Bulma said, sorry Goku, but this time I don't know anything. Earlier today, Whis showed up asking if he could have a meeting with the strongest warriors of the 7th universe, so I thought it would be a new tournament of power, but Whis said it was something as important and dangerous as the tournament of power. Because of Whis' speech and the serious expression on her face, I realized that it was really something much more serious than the tournament of power, said the blue-haired human, looking at her Saiyan friend who started scratching the back of his head. Bulma said, and you, why are you that way, Vegeta? Asked the woman to her husband, who had more serious expression than he usually had when he looked at Frieza, who was in the corner, leaning against the wall watching everyone in the place. Goku said, Vegeta must be like that because of Frieza, who's there in the corner looking at all of us. From the moment Vegeta saw that Frieza was here, he was like he was waiting for Frieza to do something, for Vegeta to go after him and face him. Even though I wanted that too, said the Saiyan while looking at his rival, who didn't take his eyes off Frieza, who was watching everyone. And when he noticed Vegeta's gaze, Frieza ended up giving a smug smile that made Vegeta snap his tongue. Vegeta said, our difference, Kakarot, is that I'm watching Frieza waiting for him to act, and you just want to fight with Frieza, and I don't want to let that damn thing destroy the Capsule Corporation or kill someone, said the Prince of Saiyans while keeping his staring at Frieza, who just laughed at his face. This was irritating the Prince of Saiyans, who just didn't move against the Emperor because he didn't want to destroy or kill anyone who was at the place. Bulma said, I'm still surprised when you talk in such a protective way. It doesn't even sound like the Prince of Saiyans who said that his heart was pure evil, but looking at it now, that heart isn't even at all. Just very arrogant and confident, said the woman from a fun way, looking at her husband and blushing a small smile. Vegeta said, don't get me wrong, Bulma. I'm only doing this because many people here are important to Trunks, and the Capsule Corporation is where we live. And I'm not going to let any idiot destroy my house or touch someone who is important for my children. Or for you, Bulma, said the Prince of Saiyans, embarrassed, something that made Bulma giggle. Goku ended up doing something similar, only he ended up laughing louder. Goku said, Vegeta is no longer that evil Saiyan of many years ago. He is no longer like that since the day we met Beerus. And Vegeta ended up facing Beerus, who hit Bulma with a slap. That made Vegeta furious and forced him to get stronger, to land some blows on Beerus. Since that day, anyone who thought Vegeta was still evil stopped thinking that way, and started thinking that Vegeta was an overprotective husband and a doting father, said the Saiyan, laughing at his rival Saiyan, who was getting redder and redder. But now Vegeta was also getting angry. Vegeta said, shut up, Kakarot. I don't want anyone talking about it, much less you idiot, who only thinks with his muscles, said the Prince of Saiyans in an irritated way while looking at his Saiyan rival. Everyone in the place talked and got together, but of course everyone was still wanting to know why they had been called by Whis and Beerus. Soon everyone would receive their answers because Whis and Beerus had finally finished having a conversation with the other angels and gods of destruction through the staff that Whis was holding in his hand. Whis said, sorry for the delay. I know that each of you must be wondering why you are here and why I called you so urgently, said the angel, attracting the attention of all those who were in the place. Beerus said, I don't know if you know, but recently a being that should have been dead thousands of years ago ended up coming back to life. This being is a god of destruction from the time that existed 13 universes. This god of destruction wasn't so strong when he returned from the dead, but he got all the Super Dragon Balls, and with that this god of destruction will have a wish that we don't know what it is. What we do know is that this god of destruction called Big Mun came back to life, and that will be a very bad thing for all of us gods of destruction and mortals of all universes, said the god of destruction, looking at everyone present who was very scared with Beerus' words. Vegeta spoke. And whose fault is it? Obviously Frieza, the idiot, who's in search of more power, went after a star that could fulfill a wish for him, and with that Frieza ended up bringing Big Mun back to life. So congratulations, Frieza, said the Prince of Saiyans in a furious tone. After all, the fault of Big Mun's return really was Frieza's, but he wasn't caring much about that. Frieza spoke. Not an idiot, you stinking monkey. It wasn't my fault that bastard used the star to come back from the dead. I just accidentally activated his wish. But I'm pretty sure I'm not obligated to continue in this place to hear that it's my fault that the god of destruction is back to life. So Beerus speaks soon because I have some other planets to conquer, said the Emperor while looking at the god of destruction, who just sighed before continuing to speak. Beerus spoke. The reason we called all of you here is because Big Mun is a being of great power, and with the wish he makes, Big Mun will probably be even more powerful, and he already has proven that he is even doing nothing. He could destroy one universe with the help of an army of beings with the energy of destruction created by Big Mun himself. And as we don't know what his wish will be, we came here to tell all of you that we are all in danger. So get ready, because at any moment, a war can happen. And if that happens, you need to destroy all the enemies. And if you find Big Mun, do not face him, because he is very powerful. Unless you're in a group of at least 2 people, only then you could try. If you are alone, leave the place quickly, because Big Mun defeated my twin brother Champa easily. So don't fight Big Mun unless you want to die, said the god of destruction, giving the great news to everyone who was there and lived at that location. In the 7th universe. Currently in the 7th universe of the planet that had become Big Mun's base of operations, who was currently facing some of his elemental soldiers who were fused with his Hawkeye energy, Big Mun was doing this to teach his soldiers how combat worked and also to help it adapt to his former monstrous strength that had returned with the help of Super Shenron. Big Mun was more used to his old powers. He was much stronger, and even Big Mun faced 100 of his soldiers. He managed to dodge all the blows of his soldiers, and then Big Mun advanced at high speed, hitting a precise blow on vital parts of those beings, destroying them with just one blow, causing the 100 soldiers to be killed. The soldiers ended up exploding in their respective elements, and the rest of the energy of destruction that was inside the soldiers ended up making a small explosion that destroyed everything that was close to them in a radius of 10 meters. Aminet spoke. Looks like the old Big Mun is coming back, but that's not his full power yet, isn't it, Master? If I remember correctly, you managed to defeat 1,000 of these soldiers in mere seconds, and did not receive any attacks. It took you a few minutes to defeat 100 soldiers, and you still ended up receiving some blows at the beginning of the combat. Well, you're still not completely adept to your old strength. So when you are already adapted to your powers again, you'll be able to defeat even 10,000 of these soldiers in a matter of seconds, said the angel while looking at her master, god of destruction, who was a little sweaty because Big Mun had been fighting his soldiers for some time, and he was starting to get tired. Big Mun spoke. I know that, Aminet. I thought once I got my powers back using the Super Dragon Balls, I would be able to use my full power again, and even my true god of destruction form, but I didn't think my body would need to adapt to that force, and that's annoying. I already know how to adapt my body quickly with all that power. Aminet, get ready, because we are going after the Super Dragon Balls so that I can make another wish, and that way I will wish that my body adapts to my full power, and after that I will start my revenge, said the god of destruction with a wide smile on his face, thinking that his plan was perfect, and it could even be since they could get the Super Dragon Balls again quickly. Aminet said, Your plan is good, Master, but unfortunately, it will not be possible to do that because the Super Dragon Balls were used a long time ago, and they take some time to be used again. About 1 mortal year for the Super Dragon Balls to be able to be used again. So even if we get all the Super Dragon Balls, they will be useless until you are willing to wait 1 year to use them again. After all, you've waited thousands of years to come back to life. 1 year must pass quickly, said the angel looking at her master, who ended up getting upset for not being able to use the Super Dragon Spears to speed up the adaptation of his body to his old powers of God of Destruction. Big Mun said, Not at all. I will not be waiting 1 year to start my revenge against the gods of destruction and the angels. I will train and make my body adapt to my old power, and when I'm already adapted to at least 50% of my original power, I will start hunting the gods of destruction and the angels, and then I will go after the Daishinkan, and soon after, I will do all this I will wait to be able to use the Super Dragon Balls again, and I already know my next request. I will wish that the 13th universe comes back to life, and also all the other universes that were erased, and those other 12 current ones, either I destroy or divide among my former companions, gods of destruction. They were gods of destruction of respect, as much as they deserve to come back to life now. But now I will be their king. I will be the king of destruction," said the god of destruction, revealing his future plans to his angel, who gave a big smile hearing that, after all, the king of destruction was a nickname that the ancient gods of destruction gave Big Mun a long time ago, when he was at his true peak. Amunet said, "It seems that you finally accepted this title of king of destruction that your old friends, the gods of destruction, gave you a long time ago. It ended up making me a little nostalgic, and I'm very happy to know that you will bring back the erased universes of life. And they come back. I hope that when the universes do come back, my brothers and sisters come back together with their gods of destruction. I miss being able to talk to them during the fights you fought in the world of Limbo, and I still remember the delicious food that my brother Khan used to do," said the angel, remembering all the moments she had with those she really considered her brothers and sisters who were still sealed. Big Mun said, "Do not worry, Amunet, because when I defeat everyone and complete my revenge, I guarantee you that I will free your brothers and sisters and bring my friends, the gods of destruction, and we will no longer need to worry about traitors like the current gods of destruction and their angels. But now it's time to go back to training, because the more I train, the more my body will adapt, and with that I will be able to go after the gods of destruction and kill them along with your angels," said the god of destruction while looking at his angel. Then Big Mun returned to his training, but before that, he had his attention turned to his angel, again when she called him. Amunet spoke, "Master, are we going to let the universes prepare? Because now that we got all the Super Dragon Balls, they must already be thinking of multiple wishes that you can make. They must be preparing the strongest mortals of their respective universes to be able to face your soldiers. So what are you going to do, Master?" asked the angel, looking at her master, who took one of his hands to his chin and started to think about it. Big Mun said, "You're right. The gods of destruction must already be preparing to face me, and they already know about my army, and must be preparing for a possible invasion of my army in their universes," said the god of destruction while looking to the sky and thought about what he could do at that moment. Amunet said, "I have a master idea. Why don't you create a large army and order them to invade each of the universes? In this way, mortals will have to face their soldiers, and this will start the destruction of all the universes. Then you'll only need to use the Super Dragon Balls or Dragon Balls that exist in the 7th universe to destroy the universes after the Lord has already dominated all the universes and defeated all who got in its way," said the angel while looking at her master, who thought very carefully about her angel's words and then gave a wide smile. Big Mun said, "A great idea, my dear Amunet. You weren't one of the smartest angels for nothing," said the god of destruction, looking at his angel, who was happy to be praised by his master. Big Mun said, "That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a huge army, and I'll divide them into groups to send them to the universes, and that way the mortals will have a sample of my strength. And moreover, while the gods of destruction will be busy with my army, I'll be there training and adapting, and when I'm ready, I'll start hunting the gods of destruction," said the god of destruction with a big smile on his face as he looked at his angel. So Big Mun concentrated and started releasing his energy all over that place, and soon several elemental beings with the appearance of a humanoid dog were created. All these soldiers had a certain amount of energy of destruction inside their bodies. Big Mun said, "My dear friends, I want all of you to spread chaos and fear in all the 12 universes. I also want you to destroy and kill anyone who tries to stop you. But if it is a god of destruction, I want you to retreat and do not face them, for I will be the one to kill the gods of destruction. Those are my orders. Now go and bring chaos and destruction to all universes," said the god of destruction while looking at all his newly created soldiers. Amunet created 12 portals, one for each universe, and soon Big Mun's soldiers entered the portals that soon closed, leaving only Big Mun and Amunet in place. With that, we end today's video. If you want to see the continuation of this incredible story, leave a lot of likes in the video and comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you another day, guys.